it's optimal. Baseball in Washington like you've never seen it before. It's the Cardinals and the Nationals, the first-place Nationals, hosting the defending World Series champs, and this is what's at stake. You see what's on the line, a sense of urgency inside of 30 games to play in the regular season. Hi, and welcome to the nation's capital. I'm Chris Myers, and hope you're enjoying your Labor Day weekend. And compelling matchup today with the best hitting team in the National League against the best pitching team in all of baseball, and plenty of star power. The Nationals have been in first place in the National League East all but 10 days of the season. And as we welcome in Tom Verducci, they've been the talk, the Nationals, from D.C. across America for a number of reasons. But there's a lot more to this team, Tom, than Steven Strasburg.
There really is, Chris. And listen, there's always eyes on young Bryce Harper, but especially now that he's swinging a hot bat with 5 home runs in his last 13 games, giving him 15 for the season. Now, he just passed Mickey Mantle, 4th most home runs by a teenager. Up next, Ken Griffey Jr., so that's great company. Here's the difference. Griffey played on a losing team in Seattle in 1989. Harper's Nationals have the best record in baseball. The heat of a pennant race. Meanwhile, the Cardinals in the standings in a better place than where they were last year at this time when they made that miraculous run, but it doesn't feel like it. They've only scored 1 run in their last 4 games. Yeah, listen, they're desperate for offense, desperate for a win, and desperate for leadership, and that means they're desperate for Yadier Molina. He is the heart and soul of the team. Now, he took a vicious hit on a home plate collision on Tuesday in Pittsburgh. He missed 1 game and got back into the lineup. He is still sore, and even though today is a day game after a night game, he's back in that Cardinals lineup, and they need him. Only one team has had a winning month the entire baseball season, and that is the Washington Nationals. But it's a new month, September baseball. It's the Cardinals and the Nationals from our nation's capital, straight ahead on Fox. Pull up a chair, enjoy a little baseball here at Nationals Park. Of the starting lineups and batting order, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live boss. Look at the number of 300 hitters in this Cardinal lineup. It's baffling as to why they haven't been able to score runs. You'll notice no Carlos Beltran, just given a day of rest. Rafael Furcal injured and out of the lineup. On the mound for Washington, Jordan Zimmermann, 9-8, making his 27th start of the year in 3 starts against the St. Louis Cardinals. He has an 0-2 record. And he is a competitor. I call him an escape artist because he's much better with runners on base. 280 with the bases empty, down to 201 with people on base. Middle innings are key for him. Why? Well, he's not the stage of his career where he pitches deep into games. He dominates the early innings, so it's the 4th and the 5th and the 6th. Keep your eye on him. Opening pitch brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. John Jay isn't waiting as he steps in to get this game going, batting .310. And first pitch as this game is underway is a ball. That one gets away. Cardinals shuffling the lineup to try and get some offense somehow, some way. So any kind of base runner in there for a strike is a good thing for Mike Matheny's club. Yeah, you talked about their lineup. You mentioned the injury to Furcal. Carlos Beltran not hurt, not in the lineup, just worn down. Needed a day, at least one. 2-2. That one got in there at 94 miles per hour. Zimmermann has not allowed more than 4 earned runs in any starts this year. Hasn't had the kind of run support that you would hope for. And in there for a strike. Otherwise, he'd have quite a few more wins. Trying to get his 10th victory. Fouled off. And already you see he's a guy mid-90s fastball. He's got kind of a short arm motion where that fastball gets up and in on hitters. Real good slider. He calls it maybe a baby cutter type. Doesn't have a huge break to it, but hard stuff mostly. Bouncer up the middle, and Jay works the count, and the Cardinals leadoff man is on.
Defensive lineups are brought to you by Chevrolet. As we check the way the Nationals, one of the top fielding teams in the National League, play it. Desmond at short, Espinosa at second. Kurt Suzuki, the former Oakland A, behind the plate. Bryce Harper in center, the ex-Philly Jason Worth in right field. Matt Carpenter hitting second in the lineup with Jay at first. Throw over there.
Yeah, and this, you talked about the struggles the Cardinals have had. One run in the last 4 games. If I'm Mike Matheny managing this team, I want to play this game aggressively early in the game. Set a tone. He's got a situation here where he can, in the right count, start a runner.
15 stolen bases for John Jay.
And you've got a guy on the mound in Jordan Zimmerman, who is a premier strike thrower. Figure he will be around the plate.
The 0-1 to Matt Carpenter. Carpenter had a foot injury. Doctors checked him out, the medical staff of the Cardinals, so back in the lineup here tonight. Facing an 0-2 count with Jay at first. Throw over there. Third game of this series, and so far it's been all Nationals, and not much offense from the top offensive team in the National League, the Cardinals. Runner goes, throw down, and got it. Kurt Suzuki up and firing.
Yeah, it was a poor jump. It looked like his footing really wasn't great on the jump that he had. Perfect pitch to throw on, high fastball, ahead on the count there. But to me, it was mostly about the jump or lack thereof for John Jay. He's actually turned into a very high percentage base stealer, but just didn't get a real good jump on this one. Under Mike Matheny, they've turned him a little more loose than Tony La Russa did last year. Part of that is experience.
So now a 1-2 count to Matt Carpenter. Matt Holliday is on deck.
But again, Chris, I'll go back to even having Jay thrown out there, having to set a tone, get something going with this team. They certainly looked lackluster last night. And listen, you will when you get 1 run in 4 games. I understand that, but trying to find a spark anywhere.
Fouled off to the left. 4th time that Jay's been caught stealing 15 out of 19, so understandably trying to make something happen. Jordan Zimmerman with a 2-2 count to Carpenter. And it's going to go full. Jay reached on a base hit, thrown out trying to steal. Zimmerman going full here. Second batter of the game. Held off.
I talked about Zimmerman dominating the early innings. He has a 1.27 ERA in the first 3 innings. This is a guy, there's no issues with him getting himself ready for inning number 1.
Feisty at bat for Carpenter.
I talked about his delivery and a little bit of a short arm motion here. It just means he doesn't have a real big arm swing, gets the ball up quickly, and that ball gets on top of you in a hurry. People talk about late life. Sometimes that's just the illusion that the arm can deliver.
Driven to left for a base hit that drops in. 2 batters, 2 hits.
Nice job by Carpenter here going the other way on the pitch. Maybe a little more of the plate there than Zimmerman wanted, but you like the approach there with 2 strikes by Carpenter.
Carpenter, one of the 6 guys in the lineup today for the Cardinals, batting .300 or better, and here's another one. having an MVP-type season. Matt Holliday. Look at that lineup. David Freese is just below 300. In their first rank. One on and one out here.
It's been strange to watch this week. I mean, you're talking about a team that, you said it, most runs in the league, best on-base percentage, highest batting average. They've run into good pitching. There's no question about that. But I think injuries and attrition.
Carpenter not much of a threat to go here, especially with Holliday. Alan Craig, the cleanup hitter, would be next. Holliday making his 6th All-Star game this year, 7th straight 20 home run plus season. Hoping to help get this Cardinal offense going again. 20 pitches already for Zimmerman here in the opening inning, and that's in for a strike.
Yeah, really uncharacteristic of him. He's really a premier strike thrower. We have 2 of the top 7 National League pitchers in terms of walk percentage in Loesch and Zimmerman here today, but not on top of his game so far early.
And there is strike 3. He was on top of that pitch.
A nice job here with Holliday moving the ball around the plate. There's that baby cutter, that slider to start him off. Just misses with the fastball in. Back to the cutter away. No 2 pitches in the same spot back to back, and gets him out going back inside. Fastballs in, sliders away.
So here is Alan Craig now with 2 down. Carpenter remains at first, and that's in for a strike. Craig, first base, outfielder, wherever they need him. He's played some infield as well. Fouls that one off. 20 home runs, has driven in 71. In right field today for the Cardinals as they shuffle the lineup. Yadier Molina, you call him the heart and soul of this Cardinal team, Tom, is the on-deck hitter here with 2 down and 2 strikes.
He's as tough as they come. There's no question about that. Really not a surprise in the lineup today.
Fouled off. Zimmerman ahead of the hitter, following a strikeout. Try and get out of a long inning. A little humid out there today. First day of September. And the Cardinals realize the sense of urgency. Outside.
I think today's the first official day of the pennant race. No longer can you say it's early.
You can't say wait till September.
Baseball's a marathon. Not anymore. Today it's officially a sprint.
Even Mike Matheny said, I've been standing on that soapbox saying we haven't played our best baseball yet. I don't want to sound like the village idiot. It's time to do that. At third, Ryan Zimmerman will be out. So Jordan Zimmerman struggles a bit but gets out of it. The first place Nationals with Bryce Harper at the top of the order coming to bat.
Hey.
Here at Nationals Park, batting order brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. For the Nationals, Jason Worth. We talked about the Cardinal hitters above 300. He's the only one in the lineup here, but Adam LaRoche has been Mr. Steady and Mr. Healthy in that lineup when they've needed him in the cleanup spot. And the Nationals, the 4th best hitting team in the National League. Facing Kyle Loesch, who has not lost since June 15th in 13 starts, going 8-0 during that time. Jason Worth, the 6'5" leadoff man, is in there.
Well, get used to those. First pitch strikes. That's where what his game is all about, and he'll throw any pitch. Fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. And net worth, no, that's not spelled wrong. It's about Jason Worth, who owns him. 6 for 14 with 3 home runs.
And a guy who takes a lot of pitches but could produce at the top of the lineup. At third, nice play by Freese. And David Freese gets Worth for out number 1.
Yeah, and I asked Kyle Loesch about Jason Worth, and he said, you know what, sometimes he's patient, sometimes he's aggressive. And here on the second pitch, good swing and off-speed pitch. A nice play by David Freese to take care of the first out.
Loesch at age 33, looking for his first 15th win, which would match his career high back in 2008, which was his first year with St. Louis. Here is Bryce Harper. Who has sizzled as of late. Up there bunting. Mentioned it was a warm day on September 1st. Still feels like summer. 91 degrees. The humidity feels like it's more than 46%, especially for Jordan Zimmerman, who threw 27 pitches.
Yeah, if you're going to have that kind of pitch workload, yeah, it's going to seem hotter. Remember, Zimmerman now is past his innings from last year, so he's in uncharted territory in terms of workload.
Coming off that surgery, which we will address. Everybody's been talking about across the country. Swung on, missed. Harper with a couple of homers Wednesday in Miami, and then another one here Thursday against the Cardinals. 8 runs batted in his last 3 games after he had just 8 in the previous 30. But boy, the teenager can excite a crowd and light up a room. In the air and foul.
There you see the numbers there, and obviously he had a little bit of a downtick there right coming out of the All-Star break. You know, the length of the season, young player, but you mentioned it, lately on fire. 8 hits or 8 RBIs in his last 3 games with 3 home runs.
Toward left field. Holliday watches it fall in, and Harper's going to second. Here comes the... He's in there.
This to me is the definition of Bryce Harper. It's the adjustment he makes at the plate, gets a change up there coming off the fastball, stays on it. Out of the box, he hits full speed in about 2 strides, 3 strides, thinking 2 the minute that ball flares off the bat. Matt Holliday seems surprised. I don't know why he should be. The book on Bryce Harper is he runs hard out of the box every time, whether it's a ground ball back to the mound or a blooper to the outfield.
A hustling double with 1 out. He'll turn 20 in mid-October. You wonder if he'll still be playing some baseball then. So here is Ryan Zimmerman batting .282, 17 homers. He's driven in 69 runs. The 1-1 from Loesch. In there.
You know, just getting back to Bryce Harper and that at bat. Remember, it started showing the bunt and actually thinking about bunt. This is the guy we've talked about, the home run power, the streak that he's on. Shows bunt, shows speed, shows the adjustments, reacting to the changeup 0-2. You sure he's 19, Chris?
At one time, you called him the LeBron James of baseball. That's when he was 60. Hoping to get home here.
Kyle Loesch did a nice job there. Make sure you stop his feet at second base. Bryce Harper will take off if you don't pay attention to him. Kyle Loesch saw him squeezing a little more real estate step by step and stopped his feet stepping off the rubber.
0-2 to Ryan Zimmerman. We'll take. Yeah, talk to not only the fans, the national players sound like fans when they say each game. You watch Bryce Harper. He's going to do something special tonight. He's going to make it exciting. He'll even on a routine out on a fly ball. He plays hard, maybe too hard. Some have said. but not for Davy Johnson and this Nationals team. Towards short. Descalso got him, and Harper has to hold, so there are now 2 down. Let's check the lineup defensively in the outfield here, brought to you by Chevrolet, and how the Cardinals are playing it. You see, we mentioned Alan Craig is in right field today. Schumacher at second, Matt Carpenter at first, Yadier Molina toughing it out behind the plate.
And it's tough going down the stretch without a real veteran steady presence at the shortstop position, but they will have to make do without Rafael Furcal. Nice play there by Descalso.
So here's Adam LaRoche. Two down, and Harper at second. And base hit. Right field. Here comes Harper. Craig's throw. Not in time, and the Nationals, who lead the National League East by 6.5, lead the Cardinals again in this series 1-0.
Well, if you're the Nationals, you better be ready to hit as soon as you step into the on-deck circle against Kyle Loesch. And certainly Adam LaRoche was. Gets a breaking ball first pitch, does a nice job staying on it, drilling it through. And with Harper running here with 2 outs, that's an easy run right there. Nice job by Adam LaRoche being ready. First pitch. Now that's not a quality first pitch strike for Kyle Loesch. Normally, he'll locate that ball a little bit better. Love the effort there from Harper.
82nd run batted in for Adam LaRoche. Michael Morse stepping to the plate. Missed the first 50 games with a strained lat, but has been the kind of hitter, bothered recently by a wrist or a hand injury, and a hitting streak, has been the kind of hitter that helped carry this team when some of the other starters for the Nationals were out of the lineup. Jason Worth, Ian Desmond. Runner at first takes a few steps.
You know, Chris, we hear a lot about baseball is a game of first. First pitch strikes, first out of the inning, secure that. In this case, first run. Very important for any team, especially Washington. 57-16 when they score first. 781 winning percentage, the best in baseball. It's got a lot to do with the bullpen, yes, but I believe the starting pitchers as well, and the way they make leads hold up.
Nationals a throw down to first. Roach gets back over there. Michael Morse batting .287. That's a 2-1 count here. Nationals the youngest team in the National League. But that pitching, the staff led the National League and just recently surpassed all of Major League Baseball in the lowest ERA. Fouled out of play to the right. 80 wins already for the Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the stats on their pitching staff. Even if you didn't look at the numbers, if you just scouted the Nationals on pure stuff, especially in the rotation, I think it's the best stuff in Major League Baseball, 1 through 5.
Two-two pitch. Base hit, right field. Nationals working it to right against Kyle Loesch. The runners now go to first and second. Tom, you talked about starting fast. In this series, the Nationals got 2 runs in the opening inning on Thursday, and then they got 2 in the first on Friday. And they already have a run in here with 2 on.
And think about the mountain you have to climb if you're the Cardinals. You had Edwin Jackson on the mound. You know, just a workhorse guy with plus velocity. The next night you get Gio Gonzalez and that ridiculous breaking ball that he has. And oh, by the way, then you get Jordan Zimmerman and Steven Strasburg. And that's why when you talk about Washington as a potential playoff team, they can dominate a series from the mound.
There is shortstop Ian Desmond now with 2 on and 2 out. Driven toward left field, and for Ian Desmond is caught on the track. That's in. He didn't catch it. And here comes a couple of runs. Looked like Holiday was going to haul it in.
It looked like he tracked this ball well off the bat and got there, just didn't follow it into the glove. Long run for Holiday, ball back toward the wall. Just whiffs on it.
It hit his glove.
Not a particularly difficult sky. We do have cloud cover here. You see with the glasses on.
That's an E7. They're going to give Holiday the error. So LaRoche and Morse in to score, running with 2 down. Instead of being out of the inning, it's now a 3-0 game. And the batter is Danny Espinosa.
Boy, if you're the Cardinals, you really have to fight the feeling right now. What else can go wrong?
Towards short. Trouble does. Calso safe.
And there's your answer. It does go wrong again. This obviously is not a confident team showing in their play here. Descalso normally shorthanded. You see him drop a knee there, just didn't go after that ball with real supreme confidence. The ball comes up and hits him on the heel of the glove.
I mean, these are 2 plays that Holiday and Descalso would make on a routine basis.
No question, and I thought last night we were looking at a team mostly offensively that looked lifeless. Now, Gio Gonzalez can do that, granted, but the quality of the at-bats when they were going down were not great. Today, to me, it seems more like the body language, the lack of confidence, the 4-game losing streak, the day game after the night game. This is a gut check right here for the Cardinals.
Let's welcome in Ken Rosenthal, who's down on the field. Ken?
Daniel Descalso is a guy that has played a lot of infield, and as Tom said, is an excellent defender. But he doesn't have a lot of time at shortstop. 28 major league games, 12 minor league games. That's the position where he is least experienced, the position where he takes ground balls when he is not in the lineup.
Thanks, Ken. He'll be joining us throughout the game for further discussion as the defending World Series champions are in a hole once again. Kurt Suzuki batting for the Nationals. Kyle Lowe should have been out of this with a 1-0 deficit.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a disquieting feeling to have the shortstop position not have that veteran, reliable, what I call 2-out shortstops. If there's 2 outs, you want the ball hit to that player, and to go down in a pennant race without that kind of confidence at the shortstop position is tough.
In defense, in there for a strike, Mike Matheny wanting some offense from his team. Said even though the numbers this year aren't showing it with Dan Descalso, that he thinks the hitting will come.
Yeah, there's no question he's the better offensive option when you talk about Pete Kozma, and you mentioned the numbers don't show it. He's having a down offensive year. It's asking a lot for a kid even like Pete Kozma. He's a very good defensive player, but again, as Ken mentioned, lack of experience at that position on the big league level.
Kozma just called up the other day from Memphis. Rafael Furcal injured and out for the season. Put on the 15-day disabled list yesterday with a torn UCL in his right elbow. Fouled off. 2 errors in the inning by the Cardinals.
And you'll see this injury here with Furcal as he's going to throw across his body to second base. And after he throws the ball, just winces, is in pain. He tried to make a couple of throws, and he knew right away something was wrong. Tried to make some practice throws here, but watch that reaction.
And he was playing as many games as he had in the last 5 years, so the wear and tear and the intangible that Furcal has, that leadership quality that Molina brings as well. Base hit center field. Here comes another run. Suzuki driving in a run, and it's 4-0 Nationals.
You know, part of the pitcher's job is to try to survive these mistakes, pick up your teammates. Like Kyle Loesch actually made a nice pitch there. Nice piece of hitting on a 2-strike count to put the ball in play. Bring home another run.
I mean, for Loesch, his ERA in those last 13 starts has been just over 2. And of course, the lack of defense has put him in a further hole here. Foul ball. Jordan Zimmerman up there batting, facing his counterpart on the mound.
That's always a good day as a starting pitcher if you get to bat in the first inning, Chris.
And your team is in first place on the first day of September. Nationals trying to repeat to themselves, as young as they are. We haven't done anything yet, but what we have done, we like so far.
This is a guy who basically has forgotten what it's like to lose a game. More than 2 months since he lost a game.
Four runs on 4 hits for the Nationals. Bryce Harper got it all going with a 1-out, 2-strike double. Fouled out of play. Cardinals haven't shown it lately with their offense, but leading the National League in runs and batting average. They are a capable team, getting hot and scoring, and that's what they're going to have to do to rally. As Loesch gets out of it on the strikeout. At the end of 1, the Nationals have the lead, and it was all because of the teenager Bryce Harper getting it going. Today's game presented by MasterCard, sponsored by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. And by Jeep. Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal, Chris Myers. Hope you're enjoying Labor Day weekend baseball on Fox as Jordan Zimmerman throws his 28th pitch to start the second inning. Kyle Loesch threw 28 in that opening inning. 3 of the 4 runs he gave up were unearned. Here is Yadier Molina.
Well, we talked about at the top his importance to this Cardinal lineup, but now down 4-0. Again, once again, they look to Yadier Molina to start something.
Fouled off. He's been bothered by a stiff neck, not a concussion, which they had to check him out for after this against the Pirates.
Yeah, he took that full blunt force on basically the whole left side of his body, and right now still sore, especially in the shoulder area.
Molina over Desmond with a base hit into left field.
Well, it hasn't affected him at the plate. Major League's leading hitter in August, hit over 400 last month. Nice job there. You see the head stays down through contact. Just off the glove of Ian Desmond.
And Molina already hit the 17 home runs this year, a career high, and he's within 3 of his career high and runs batted in. So despite physically getting beat up, beats up some Nationals pitching here.
And again, getting back to that shoulder, I think you saw it last night behind the plate. Just his reach behind the plate on some pitches. They had 3 wild pitches that if he's healthy, I believe he stops. And once the game got out of hand, Mike Matheny got him on the bench, got him out of the game.
David Freese. World Series and League Championship Series MVP, played in all 18 postseason games, having to play a lot of games this year. Fouls that off. Comes in batting just below 300 with 17 homers and 71 runs batted in, and the Cardinals need to get some runs. Leadoff man in the inning is on with Molina. Freese takes.
You don't see many of these, especially inside front door breaking balls from Jordan Zimmerman to a right-handed hitter. He thought he got the plate. I think he missed, as you see Suzuki try to pull that back into the strike zone.
A 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. Driven toward left center field. And out of here, a 2-run homer for David Freese.
Well, Chris, he went back to the same pitch that he thought he had him struck out on. That breaking ball inside part of the plate. This one got more of the plate, too much of the plate. David Freese puts a great swing on this ball and drives it out in the park to left center.
18th home run of the season for Freese, and they already have more runs in this inning than the previous 4 games.
Well, that's a nice response after an ugly, ugly bottom of the first inning. Molina and Freese combined to put 2 runs back on the board.
Skip Schumacher steps in. He's been a member of the Cardinals since 2005. Jared Michael Schumacher. And in there for a strike. So nobody out yet here in the second inning. Cardinals cut the Nationals lead in half. Swung on, missed. Let's get a DirecTV game break and check in with Matt Vasgersian. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Chris, in the NL East, Tim Hudson making his 399th career start, and he trails early at home on a John Mayberry RBI single. Hey, don't count the Phillies out. 8 back with 30 to play. It can happen. NL wildcard race is still alive. A reminder, if you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Chris and Tom, back to you guys.
Thanks, Matt. Don't count Davey Johnson knows. Don't count the Cardinals out.
Well, I love the optimism about the Phillies, and you know, you can bring back to the 2011 Cardinals. Anything's possible after what they did last year.
Well, some of the Nationals last night, after they won the game, they were gathering in the clubhouse watching the Phillies rally against the Braves, and scoreboard watching in September in Washington, D.C.
Great time of year, especially here in this town. They haven't seen postseason baseball since 1933. I don't think they had any high def back then to follow the pennant race.
No TiVo, DVR. As Daniel Descalso is in a 2-2 count with 1 down and a 4-2 Nationals lead here in the second. David Freese giving St. Louis some offensive punch they needed. Fouled off. Kyle Loesch is the on-deck hitter here with nobody on and 1 down. Molina led off the inning with a base hit, and then Freese homered, but a strikeout from Zimmerman. Let's get more on David Freese. Go back down to Ken Rosenthal.
Well, Chris, today is David Freese's 120th game of the season. That's his most in a season since 2008. And in August, it seemed like it might have taken a toll. He batted just .213 with a .600 OPS. But here he is today, starting September with that home run. Good sign for him.
Thanks, Ken. We talked a little bit about the age and injury and the wear and tear of the Cardinals. You know, when you put on a run like they did last year, as remarkable as it was, and I know it's a new season, emotionally it can have an effect on a team. There can be some carryover there in a negative way sometimes.
Oh, I think it's a great point about the load that Freese is going through, really for the first time in his career with this many games. Carlos Beltran, 35 years old. Rafael Furcal, 34 and now hurt. Lance Berkman missed most of the year, 36 years old. Those were some of the questions about this Cardinal team coming into the season. First half of the season, it was no problem whatsoever. Beltran was an all-star. Furcal played great, hitting over 300 the first 2 months. Age has caught up with them in the second half.
That's fouled off. 2-strike count here. And as some of the Cardinal players were telling me, including Kyle Osh, we know what we did last year. We can't lean on it, but the experience says it's possible, it's capable. But it's a whole new year. Different dynamic, and that's bounced towards second, and Espinosa will get the out. So we're going to the bottom of the second. Here in Washington, D.C., the Cardinals have responded, but it's a 4-2 Nationals lead. Today's game presented by MasterCard and is sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. Here in Washington, D.C., yeah, the Redskins are getting ready to play football, but there is a buzz. Steven Strasburg, Bryce Harper, and this guy won a World Series title with the Phillies. Jason Worth providing some excitement for the first place Nationals. Rounded out his first time. Harper, who doubled to get things going for Washington. That's next. That's in there for a strike. Worth in the leadoff spot hadn't really batted there quite a bit, but Davey Johnson said, I'm not fooled by his height. He takes pitches, he produces runs, and I'm going to put him there, and it's worked well with Harper right behind him.
Yeah, he's having a nice little, how you doing? The umpire right there. I think he didn't like that pitch that it was off the plate there, but yeah, if you covered up his height and you looked at everything else about Jason Worth, you'd love him as a leadoff hitter. He takes as many pitches as anybody in baseball, draws walks, runs the bases well, and hits for power. Davey Johnson resuming the argument here.
Yeah, standing at 6'5", and is it really worth it at this stage of the game where you just
I was going to say Wally Bell was in for an easy day because of the two starting pitchers, but Jason Worth thinking that ball was outside. Molina's as good as there is at framing pitches, kind of stole that one for his pitcher.
Our umpires for today, Bell behind home plate. Worth said his mentality doesn't really change as a leadoff hitter or hitting anywhere else since he was 8 years old. His father said, get up there and swing. Don't take pitches, or take enough until you get the one you want. He averages about 4.5 pitches every time up. Looking at him, watches that look.
Yeah, and he's a great two-strike hitter, the best two-strike hitter in baseball this year. He's a great breaking ball hitter as well. So getting deep into counts, getting 2 strikes, not a problem for Jason Worth.
Leading off the second with a 2-2 count here from Loesch. Swung on, missed. Tonight, college football comes to Fox. Heisman Trophy winner Eddie George, the brash quarterback Joey Harrington join Aaron Andrews with the Ford Fox College Saturday pregame show. And then you'll see Matt Barkley, who might pick up the Heisman, and #1 ranked USC as they march toward a possible BCS national championship. They take on Hawaii. Fox College football presented by Geico tonight at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. So after baseball, see the Trojans in action as Bryce Harper steps in. Driven towards center. Not going to go very far. John Jay squeezes it for out number 2, and let's get another DirecTV game break with Matt Veskers.
Chris, Phillies and Braves, we reiterate, don't count the Phillies out. Now 2-0 Phils on a Jimmy Rollins solo shot. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. The Braves trying to avoid their 10th loss in their last 14 games. Tom, we couldn't possibly be witnessing another 2011-like September in Atlanta, could we?
Oh, Matt, don't even bring that up in Atlanta. I don't think they're over last year yet. But you have to believe, Chris, that's got to be in the back of the minds of Freddie Gonzalez and the crew there in Atlanta.
2 wild card teams this year. As you look at the wild card standings, the Cardinals actually would have gotten in last year as a second wild card as well, and they're clinging to that spot at the moment, but things are tight.
Well, I think it's a September like nothing we've ever seen before. We really don't know how this is going to play out. We do know that if you're in first place, such as the Washington Nationals, you have to play the season out. You can't start resting people, conceding some games just to get your people ready for October. You want to stay out of that one-game wild card shootout where anything can happen. A bad call, a bad bounce, a bad break here, and you're home and you're done.
Ryan Zimmerman batting with 2 outs. So Tom, clarify with the second wild card. They play each other. And you start at home. If you advance as the wild card, you play your first 2 there.
Yeah, a lot of people have an issue with that, but that's really a 1-year deal.
Fouled off.
The postseason schedule was basically put into place, and there just wasn't enough room to put in a second travel day. You take a look at the wild card standings. Even the Diamondbacks below 500 are hanging in there. So the winner of that wild card shootout will host the first 2 games and then go, if necessary, for the next 3 on the road. I still think it's a big advantage for that first place team to sit around, line up your pitching. Even if you have to start on the road, I think you're at a supreme advantage, which should be the case. We play 162 games. It should matter whether you finished first or second. And I think in the old format, it didn't matter nearly as much as it should have.
For the Nationals, trying to get their 81st win, they're battling the Reds for the best record in the National League and in all of baseball. And again, the National League winning the All-Star game, so you're going to think way ahead to the World Series. You'll have the home field advantage, as the Cardinals did last year. Base hit left field. 2 out. Base hit by Ryan Zimmerman.
That's the second changeup this inning that Kyle Loesch has left up. You see this pitch here. He wants to get it down and gives Ryan Zimmerman a real good look at it. He's really come around the second half of the season. Had a lot of shoulder difficulty early in the season. Wasn't close to being the same kind of hitter. I think he still has some issues with that shoulder, especially throwing, but offensively he looks like he's back to the Ryan Zimmerman of all-star level.
So runner at first with 2 out, and here is Adam LaRoche, who got things started with an RBI single to get Harper home in the opening inning when the Nationals scored 4. Thought it might be a pitcher's duel, but so far the bats have heated up in the 90-degree temperatures here. LaRoche leading the Nationals in home runs and runs batted in, and has already delivered once. Ahead in the count. Really, when you talk about the offensive MVP of this team, his name would have to be up there. Aldo.
Certainly Mr. Steady for the Washington Nationals, a guy who's throughout his career had a lot of trouble historically in the first month of the season. But I think he's been the most consistent run producer in this lineup. A lineup that's gone through a bunch of injuries at different times in the course of the season. You talked about Mike Matheny saying, hey, we still haven't played our best baseball. I think the Washington Nationals are just getting there because of the offense.
And just getting all of their players back healthy. Desmond, Morse, Worth, who had been out at different times during the season. Driven toward right field. It's up. It's out. And home run. Adam LaRoche with home run number 24.
LaRoche plays this game like somebody just woke him up from a nap. And I mean that in the best possible way, because there's never any hurry, never any worry in his game, and that's the kind of swing he has. Just smooth as syrup. Great swing on this inside fastball. I think it looked like Loesch wanted to cut it inside a little bit more, but nice and easy. Everything he does defensively, and certainly with that sweet swing from the left side.
So the Cardinals, who picked up 2 in the second, the Nationals get those right back. It's a 6-2 Washington lead. And here is Michael Morse, who singled to right his first time. In there for a strike.
Well, Chris, there's a term a lot of teams use, shutdown innings. And that means when your team scores, get back on that mound and throw up a 0. And so far here in the second inning, both teams have been unable to throw 0 up in a shutdown inning.
Fouled off. Already a total of 8 runs scored. Good crowd here at Nationals Park. Seeing if their team can win 3 straight against the Cardinals. Got it. Strike 3. So we've gone through 2 in D.C. and the Nationals lead the Cardinals 6-2. Fox Saturday Baseball is presented by MasterCard. Top of the 3rd, John Jay, who singled but was caught stealing, leads off for the Cardinals, and Jordan Zimmerman delivers the strike. Steven Strasburg will pitch tomorrow for the Nationals. 2 or 3 starts left, according to his manager. 150 1/3 innings.
And again, Jordan Zimmerman is really the model, coming off Tommy John surgery. They shut him down last year at 160, 161 1/3 to be exact. That's about the neighborhood where they wanted Steven Strasburg. And it's not as if Zimmerman is the only one. Mike Rizzo, the general manager, told me the Nationals have done this with Tommy John patients about 6 or 7 times in their system.
It has been one of the most debated issues across the country, from Rudy Giuliani to Terry Bradshaw. Steven Strasburg, you're leading the division, you're in a pennant race, you're the Nationals. How can you shut down a guy?
Where's duct tape when you need it, Chris?
And looks like our home plate umpire, Wally Bell. It's not that he's a fan of a concert. He's got some fan heckling him.
Foul ball, and whoops.
I want to make sure the sign is secure, so it's not necessarily a fan giving him a hard time. Anyway, it's good publicity for Dierks Bentley.
Duct tape, it solves everything. Duct tape, come on, guys. Well, that's also one way to solve it as well. Just get rid of it.
Fox Saturday Baseball next week. 3 games in all figure in the playoffs. Adrian Gonzalez, the New Look Dodgers in San Francisco. Those National League West leading Giants. LA trying to get back into either the division or wild card race. So that's driven toward left for a base hit. So Jay is 2 for 2. Matt Carpenter, who singled his first time, steps in. In limited action, his on-base percentage pretty good. Just under Yadier Molina, a little bit higher than Carlos Beltran and David Freese. Cardinals hoping to get base runners here, trailing by 4 runs already. Toward left field. Morse squeezes it for the out.
You know, getting back to Strasburg, obviously it is a debate not just here in Washington but nationally. But Chris, the Nationals have a lot more information than anybody else, and they have really studied this extensively. They've gone back and looked at not just in their system but other pitchers coming off of Tommy John surgery, other young pitchers. It's a very calculated move that they're doing here. The easy thing, I believe, for Mike Rizzo, the general manager, to do, just keep running him out there and say we don't care about the future. I think he's actually taken the harder position.
Driven toward left center field, and that is going to be a Matt Holliday 2-run homer. He crushed that thing. Home run number 25 for Holliday. Remember, it was his miscue that opened the floodgate in that first inning for unearned runs.
First pitch fastball hitting right here, Matt Holliday, and he gets all of this right here. That's middle. And again, both of these pitchers live on first pitch strikes. They are second and third in the National League behind only Cliff Lee on pumping in first pitch fastball strikes. And these hitters are ready.
Got a little extra distance, but it took a bounce on the steps. Alan Craig steps up, batting .317. Hit into a fielder's choice his first time up. It's now a 6-4 Nationals lead.
Oh, we're now officially 0 for 3, looking for a shutdown inning. You're looking for somebody to say, okay, let's put a stop to this, throw up a 0 on the board.
We'll come back to our Stephen Strasburg conversation, and as you said, it relates to what the Nationals have done with Jordan Zimmermann. He's exactly a year and 3 weeks ahead of where Strasburg was in terms of you have the surgery and then you pitch and then you juggle the innings.
You know, I talked to Jordan about what it was like towards August of last season. And he said actually even during the course of this season, very up and down, very inconsistent in terms of how he felt out there. Much more consistent this season. And I think the inconsistency is what you're seeing out of Stephen Strasburg a little bit here in July and August. It's to be expected coming off of Tommy John surgery.
The 2-2 count here with 1 out and a 2-run game. Zimmermann has already thrown 63 pitches. We're in the 3rd. Toward right field, Jason Worth. He has out number 2. Let's get Ken Rosenthal's thoughts on Stephen Strasburg.
Well, guys, the 2 biggest questions for me. One, when Mike Rizzo said in spring training that there would be an innings limit, though he did not actually specify a number, all he needed to say at that time is that the Nationals would monitor Strasburg and make a determination later. You never would have had all this controversy. The other thing is that the Nats never considered adjusting Strasburg's schedule to stretch out his season longer. One of their players told me yesterday, hey, we should have started his season in May. We guaranteed that he could not pitch for us in October.
Thanks, Ken. That's what a lot of fans are saying. Well, why don't you just start him a little bit later? But the Nationals countered with, well, there's a rhythm to the recovery and a timing, and we've worked on that.
Yeah, and I thought that myself for a while there, Chris, that why not, borrow a start here and there, shutting it down, going into the All-Star break, out of the All-Star break, skipping in a turn here and there in July or August. But what you just said is very important about the rhythm and just the routine of being a starting pitcher. And we're talking about individual pitchers. Some don't mind. Stephen Strasburg is a pitcher of routine, and they wanted to keep him on that routine instead of inventing something entirely different.
Salient point as we go 2-2 on Yadier Molina. Now, what if you give a guy a break during the course of the year? That's what you do when a pitcher has a hamstring or an injury. He doesn't pitch for a while.
I actually joke half-kiddingly they were unlucky that Strasburg didn't tweak a hamstring or have some minor issue where they did have to sit him down for 2 or 3 starts. It wouldn't be an issue, the innings.
Molina toward right, and Worth has it for out number 3. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd. But Matt Holliday with a 2-run homer gets the defending World Series champion Cardinals just a little closer to the Nationals at 6-4. Ian Desmond steps in. Nationals batting with a 6-4 lead in the bottom of the 3rd, along with Ken Rosenthal down on the field. Tom Verducci, Chris Myers up in the booth here at Nationals Park, where Washington tries to widen its lead on the first day of September. Bouncer that is gobbled up and thrown out. Schumacher got him. Trying to widen its lead in the National League East. We welcome in Chris Carpenter, part of that Cardinals staff that put on the amazing run last year. What a performance by Chris to help to the World Series. But this year the story, Chris, has been the surgery and the fact that many thought you might not be able to pitch again this year. Can you give us an update?
Yeah, it's been a long year, a lot of frustration, but that stuff, it happens with this game, and right now I'm feeling better. I had a surgery about a month and a half ago. We're moving ahead quickly, and I've gotten my strength back, and so far everything's good. So hopefully we can continue to progress the way we're progressing, and I get a chance to come back and pitch.
Well, Chris, you took a big step yesterday getting on a mound, throwing to hitters. It looked like your stuff was really good, breaking up some bats of your teammates, as well as breaking off curveballs, as we see the pop-up behind the plate. Yadier Molina taking care of it. What does that mean for you if you can gauge where you are in terms of stuff and health about the possibility of pitching at some point this September?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yesterday was a big step. I'm going to do it again beginning of next week, and and we'll keep moving forward. But again, we're not going to be stupid. We're going to make sure we do the right things. And right now, we're going into it. It was important for me to pitch next year, but if I have an opportunity to pitch this year, I'm going to.
After Espinosa popped out, here's Kurt Suzuki. Chris, Mike Matheny referred to you as one of the leaders on this team who speaks up when necessary at the right time, given your situation and where the Cardinals are. How do you best describe the situation for this Cardinal team?
Well, you know, we got to keep pushing. We've had a rough last 4 games. Obviously, today hasn't started the way we wanted it to, but you know, we're in a good spot. We've been playing consistently well up into the last 4 games. So you know, we started off the road trip good. This was a tough series or tough trip for us. We were facing some pretty tough pitching, and these guys that we're facing here can put you in a slump in a hurry. These guys, they got a bunch of good pitchers here. It's just everything's kind of not working our way all at once. So we're not pitching well, we're not defending well, we're not hitting well. So hopefully we can turn that around today, come back and win a game, and come in tomorrow and get another one before we get out of here. But these guys here are going to continue to battle. We got some injuries, but we got a good team.
Well, this is September, and I wouldn't say panic, but as Mike Matheny said, this is the time to step up, Chris, and you know what this team has from what it did last year. How much can you lean on that, or what can you use from that to take it forward?
You definitely can use that. You know, we got the experience that we went through last year, but again, this is a new year, and you know what, to be honest with you, if you're not going to be playing very well and go into a slump, I'd rather be doing it right now for a week than doing it the second to last week of September.
Well, thanks for your time. Good luck on the recovery, and we'll talk to you again.
All right, thanks.
Chris Carpenter with us, and we've gone through 3. Cardinals will bat trailing by 2. Today's game is sponsored by DirecTV. Now NFL Sunday Ticket is included at no extra charge when you switch. And by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball. Here in Washington, D.C., good to chat with Chris Carpenter, 2005 Cy Young Award winner and 3-time All-Star. Jordan Zimmerman working the 4th here against Freese, who hit his 18th homer back in the 2nd inning.
Once again, first pitch strike, and the Cardinals are ready. 12 out of 15 so far. That's nothing new with Zimmerman.
Toward right. And drops and rolls in the corner. Worth couldn't get there. Freese going to be 2 for 2.
Well, that swing looked familiar to Cardinal fans, didn't it? Well, Game 6 of the World Series last year, going the other way.
They're hoping for something magical to spark this team. Trying a 4-game losing streak. Already the offense has been better than it has been in the last 4 games. And now Skip Schumacher trying to move the runner over or get him home. In there for a strike.
Schumacher is the one guy who does like to take first pitches. He doesn't mind getting deep into counts, but in general, it's a tough matchup for Zimmerman because the Cardinals are better than any team in the National League swinging and getting hits on first pitches. Hitting .375 on first pitches they put into play.
Freese watches that go foul. Schumacher had 2 different stints on the disabled list earlier this year. Got an oblique and a hamstring. But a productive bat. Torrance, California, and UC Santa Barbara. Played some, actually started in the outfield, converted to the infield. At second base today for the Cards. Stays around the plate for Suzuki. Freese and Holiday have Cardinal homers. And Cardinal errors have contributed to the 6 runs on the board as that is floated towards short. Desmond has it, safe at second.
play. You see Zimmerman just blow up the bat right here. Schumacher getting this ball right in on his hands. Schumacher's doing the best that he can to try to hit this ball to the pole side to move the runner over, but he gets in his kitchen right there. Grace recovers in time to get back, avoids a complete disaster, and now Daniel Descalso. When you talk about someone who needs a hit with a runner in scoring position, there's only 6 of those all year. 6 for 62 with runners in scoring position.
And that's fouled off right away. Most of his starts have been at second base, but also at third base. A little bit at first, but shortstop with Furcal on the injured list and assuming out for the remainder of the season. One on and one out. We're in the 4th. That's fouled off.
Well, we got our shutdown inning, right, with Mr. Loesch last inning, and with the U.S. Open going on, it reminds me of a tennis match with the guy breaking the other player time and time again, and finally you had a guy who held serve, and now it's on Zimmerman here to throw up a 0 of his own.
See who will be Djokovic or Federer here when the day winds down. Kyle Loesch is the on-deck hitter. Well, like it splintered the bat a little bit. That's fouled off. Hey, that's amazing. Chris Carpenter way ahead of schedule. Chatting with him last inning.
I'm telling you, Chris, for those who watched him throw, it was really difficult to know that he's been out the entire season. His stuff was that good. In fact, Kyle Loesch said, "That's unfair. He went out there with a better curveball than me, and he hasn't pitched in 5 months." But I think it was very encouraging for the Cardinals. There is no timetable. There really isn't. They didn't start out with one. It really, literally is start by start, if you will, but basically in this case, pitching off a mound each time he goes out there.
The 0-2 high. Carpenter is signed for next year. That thoracic outlet surgery for the nerve damage in the shoulder back on July 19th.
Yeah, he's a big part of their future. There's no question about it. The question is, can he get back in any capacity this September?
And it hit him. So does that change things this early with the number of pitches?
See, he's been working these left-handers in. This one just keeps coming in right on the back foot of Daniel Descalso.
Runners at first and second now with 1 out, and they'll have a little meeting on the mound for Zimmerman, and Kyle Loesch maybe in a bunting situation.
One of the most famous bunts in Cardinals history, going back to that game 6 last year. Remember, the Cardinals were out of position players in this game. He gets up there, down 2 runs, 10th inning, moves the runners up with a fantastic bunt. The Rangers, you see with the wheel play on with the third baseman Beltre coming in, he somehow gets it to shortstop, and both runners wind up scoring and they tie the game. Now the story behind that was,
who made the decision for him to bunt?
Well, it was interesting. Edwin Jackson was going to hit for Jason Mott, who is due up. Jackson being the best hitting of the Cardinals pitchers, but with 2 runners on base, it became a bunt situation. And Kyle Loesch is considered the best bunter on the team. It was Albert Pujols who went to Tony La Russa and said, "Tony, I think we should have Loesch bunt instead of Jackson." Tony said, "You know what, that's a good idea." Loesch was just standing there doing nothing, had 30 seconds to get up there with a bat in his hands.
And he told you it was an advantage not to have time to think about it. And look at this bunt in the air. Zimmerman has it for the out.
Well, he's angry at himself, and he should be. He is a good bunter. He has 11 sack bunts this year. That's part of being a major league pitcher, helping yourself getting this ball down.
Well, you got to give Zimmerman a little credit too. He knows what Loesch wants to do when he's up there, and he's going to pitch him that way.
Yeah, and good job by Zimmerman. You know, throwing a high fastball. It's tough to get the bat on top of that one. But I thought that was an incredible story. I hadn't heard it before Kyle Loesch told me about that. That Albert Pujols, you talk about a guy who's in the game, is going to the manager and saying, "Wait a second, let's put up the better bunter now." Edwin Jackson being the better hitter, Kyle Loesch the better bunter, and it turned out to be a huge play.
And of course, Tony La Russa, the thinking man's manager, the strategist, and we got another hit batter.
Once again, the ball riding in, this time on a breaking ball to the left-handed hitter.
Those first pitch strikes are one thing, but hitting a batter may be another, as John Jay goes to first base, and they're loaded now for Matt Carpenter. Carpenter has a single and a flyout so far. It's an opportunity to tie the game or maybe take the lead. Bases are loaded. Jordan Zimmerman is going to throw his 84th pitch. And Matt Carpenter, who already has one hit in the game, can revitalize the Cardinals season on the 1st of September. In there.
And this is a big pitch coming up right here. Obviously, it's a big at bat, but to me, there's no pitch that swings an at bat more than the 1-1 pitch, be it a ball or a strike.
Strike two.
And now with that second strike, major league hitters hit below 200. The advantage swings enormously to the pitcher right here. You mentioned the pitch count. A lot of these pitchers have been thrown with under stress with runners on base out of the stretch. He's got to find a way to execute here, knowing that fatigue is becoming a factor.
Zimmerman sweating it out here. The count is 2-2. The bases are loaded. Work in the Cardinal bullpen. Matt Holliday, the on-deck hitter. Driven toward right field. Worth is going to watch it bounce off the fence. One run is in. Here comes another one. And a bases clearing double for Matt Carpenter.
Again, it's one of the harder things to do. When your pitch count runs up within an inning, looked like a cutter there on the hands, just didn't get in enough on Carpenter. But trying to execute a pitch when you've been under duress throughout the game, but especially in this inning. That's why when we talk about innings, whether it's Steven Strasburg or Jordan Zimmerman, not all innings are created equal. There are innings and there are stress innings, and this is a stress inning.
Matt Holliday batting, crushed a first pitch home run his last time up, his 25th, but what a clutch performance from Carpenter with 2 strikes.
Terrific at bat, got deep into the count.
In the Nationals bullpen, Craig Stammen is getting loose. This will be the 89th pitch for Jordan Zimmerman, who ranked 2nd in the National League in ERA coming into this game. So Matt Carpenter is standing at 2nd with 2 down, and the Cardinals with their first lead of this game and in this series.
Yeah, that was a better executed slider right there on Holliday. Had a little more bite than the one he threw on Carpenter, cutting it in on his hands. See if he goes back there. He's certainly not out of the woods yet by any means with Matt Holliday up there. Davey Johnson showing a lot of confidence in the guy at 89 pitches. With a dangerous hitter at the plate.
Well, the Nationals had their 5-game losing streak, but snapped out of it. The Cardinals trying to end a 4-game slide, clinging to one of the 2 wild card spots. Jordan Zimmerman certainly didn't expect this. Not the way his fellow national pitchers had handled the Cardinal bats in the first 2 games of this series. The 2-2. 92 pitches now, and he's gone full with Carpenter.
And I think he has to know in his own mind, if he's not thinking about it, this has got to be his last hitter, whether he gets Holliday or not.
Yeah, correction, full on Matt Holliday. Matt Carpenter stands at second. And he walked him. Alan Craig coming to the plate. And a disappointing, somewhat startling performance from Jordan Zimmerman. Davey Johnson needing to make a change here in the fourth. Cardinals in the fourth inning with 2 on and 2 out. Craig Stammen is in for Jordan Zimmerman, second in the National League among relievers with 74 innings pitched and 6 wins. Last pitched on Tuesday in Miami when he went 3 innings and allowed 2 earned runs. Craig, there's a base hit left field. Here comes the run. The throw will be scooped up, and it's now an 8-6 Cardinal lead.
Once again, the most dangerous first pitch hitting team in baseball. You cannot assume the Cardinals will give you a strike. And Stammen comes in and just gets way too much of the plate right there. There are some hitters, and Schumacher being one of them, will give you that first pitch strike. Not really aggressive first pitch, but generally throughout this lineup, you almost have to pitch them as if you're ahead 0-1 or 0-2 on that first pitch. Especially this guy right here, Yadier Molina, loves to jump on first pitches.
An MVP candidate and a chance to shine here. Already 4 runs in the inning for the Cardinals. Washington had a 4-0 lead as we check the totals for Jordan Zimmerman. 3 2/3. He gave up 8 hits, 7 earned runs, and 93 pitches. Only the 3rd time in 76 career starts that Zimmerman has not gone past the 4th inning, and first this year that he hasn't gone past 5 innings. But you knew it was just a matter of time with the top scoring and hitting team in the National League before the Cardinals would erupt. Fouled off. Let's take a look at our Lexus in-game box score, Tom, and the hitters are hitting today for St. Louis.
Yeah, they are. And you mentioned Zimmerman. You see a lot of hits on the board against him. That right there. I think this is normal what a player goes through now, because last year, remember, we talked about he was shut down late August, 161 innings. He's going beyond that now, and this is what I call graduate school now, where you're going through that extra month now of September, a place he has not been before. Has not been sharp his last 3 or 4 times out.
And worth noting when you get into the Steven Strasburg conversation. Molina at third, Ryan Zimmerman, and they are finally out of the inning. But the defending World Series champion Cardinals picking themselves up off the mat. Matt Carpenter with a bases clearing double. We're going to the bottom of the 4th. Craig Stammen, the Nationals relief pitcher, will bat here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Let's welcome in Gio Gonzalez, who pitched the first shutout of his career last night, a 5-hitter, and threw more pitches than he had. And as we have a bouncer toward second and getting the out for out number 1. Well, Gio, first, the pitching's been terrific in this series. You're probably as surprised as anyone with Jordan Zimmerman and the way that the Cardinal bats have erupted today.
I mean, he's been doing great for us all year. You know, it's just, you get one of those bumps in the roads once in a while. You know, I think a guy like him is just, he's our horse. You know, we need him. You know, we just want him to stay healthy. You know, we look at this, you know, just keep moving forward and ignore this game. I know he's going to do great for us this next start.
Yeah, and ignore the sunflower seeds as well, huh?
Is it raining? I could have sworn it was raining.
Hey, Gio, I wanted to ask you about that shutout last night, and I heard that your mom was actually sitting directly behind home plate. Tell us about that, whether that was distracting or an inspiration.
No, at this point, I'm kind of used to it. You know, she's really loud. She's been doing that ever since I was in T-ball, so she's one of the greats. You know, she's my biggest fan, and my dad, you know, can't sit next to her. He has to go somewhere far away from her. I think she's too loud for him. It's still raining somewhere around here.
Jason Worth is the batter, 0 for 2 so far. And I know, Gio, you want this team, your Nationals, to rally here. But in a city where innings and number of pitches is talked about so much, You certainly pitched the most you had, and I guess wanted to complete that game. How important was that to you last night?
It means a lot to me, especially the way these guys were swinging the bat, the way they were bringing out the run support and defense they were playing. You know, they got me out of a couple of big pickles. You know, when double play balls, I think I had 3 of them, and then, you know, it just felt great. You know, I can give the bullpen a day off and just go out there and attack the strike zone. And Suzuki did a great job just mixing it up, going in and out, and then again, defense and offense is the reason why I stayed that long in there.
Hey, Gio, I want you to be honest here. I know this is the time of year for scoreboard watching. It's okay to admit it. How about box score watching in terms of your involvement in standing in the Cy Young Award race?
At that point, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm actually trying to win games for these guys. You know, I think they do a great job every start. You know, they give me runs, they give me defense, they do whatever it takes. You know, these guys, it'd be selfish for me to even think of myself right now. I think right now I want to think for the team, and I want to know that we're going to continue to go out there and play our games and try to win ball games.
Bryce Harper batting after Worth strikes out, so there are 2 down. Gio, what about the buzz here? You come over, and I know Suzuki helped you, your former A's teammate, to catch you behind the plate last night. But baseball, playoff pennant baseball in September in Washington D.C., it's kind of a fun feeling.
I've never been a part of it, and to hear about it, to even, you know, people talking about it and the whispering about it, it's exciting. You know, when you get some of the players and stuff like that are kind of enjoying themselves, and guys who've been a part of it, like Mark DeRosa, Jason Worth, and, you know, other big name guys on our team. You know, Edwin Jackson last year with these guys. So you can imagine the excitement, the atmosphere these guys bring, especially when we're going out there and competing. I mean, I've never been a part of it, and all I've heard is great things about it.
Well, I'm sure some of those names you mentioned are on your suspect list when it comes to these flying sunflower seeds, but it seems to really hint at the kind of atmosphere you guys have there. How about that?
Don't worry about it. I'll get them back with a Gatorade cup or something.
You got the double, and Strasburg, you get to the postseason, you're the ace, right? You'll be the guy on the spot.
I wouldn't go that far. I know we got a couple of guys on this rotation that are unbelievable. You know, I think that I'll be a part of it, and I want to be a part of it. But, you know, you got Edwin Jackson, who's been doing great for us. Jordan Zimmerman, you know, a guy that's been lights out for us all year. You know, Ross Detweiler, who was our guy who stopped the bleeding, you know, against the Marlins for us. And now we got John Lannon on our side. So there's a lot of positive things going on, especially on rotation. You know, Strauss is our main key. He's our horse, but, you know, we all know the situation, what's going to happen, and, you know, we're just slowly easing into it.
All right, well, Gio, congrats on the performance so far. Good luck with this team getting into the postseason, the Cy Young, and thanks for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Gio Gonzalez. And when you talk about Cy Young candidates, Kyle Osh is on that, Johnny Cueto, R.A. Dickey with 17 wins, Aroldis Chapman of the Reds. Some of those, Tom, that you have put Gio in company with.
Yeah, he's certainly climbing that ladder.
Bryce Harper with a 2-strike base hit.
You know, you're talking about a guy who last year had a terrific season for Oakland and finished strong down the stretch with 5 wins in September. But here's just a few of them. You can throw Craig Kimbrell on there as well, the great closer for the Braves. He's certainly in the mix. There's no question about it.
And only Dickey, in terms of teams in the postseason run, division leaders. It's funny, Jordan Zimmerman was telling us yesterday that he's a low-key, mild-mannered guy, that Gio kind of speaks for the entire pitching staff. He's the talkative one to go to.
Yeah, we got a little taste of that right there with him.
And he can back it up. Ryan Zimmerman at the plate with Harper on, and an 8-6 Cardinal lead on the bottom of the 4th. Yeah, he was talking about, I'll get those guys back. You know, the shaving cream pie is one thing, but when you get Gatorade, you get sunflower seeds thrown at you after the performance he had.
Well, you know, it's funny, Chris. I actually do consider him the ace of the Nationals. I know Strasburg has the better strikeout stuff, better stuff in general, but in terms of where they are as in their development, Gonzalez is further along. He can take the ball deeper in the game. Strasburg right now, because of development reasons, is basically a 6-inning pitcher, thereabouts. Gonzalez can take the ball deeper in the game. The Nationals actually have a better won-lost record when Gonzalez gets the ball than Steven Strasburg. Listen, it's a great situation to have because I think the Nationals can feel good about any postseason game, no matter who gets the ball 1 through 4. But I think Gonzalez does certainly fit ace criteria.
And when you look at the numbers with Zimmerman, Gonzalez, Strasburg, and you have, you know, John Lannon, who has been an opening day starter 2 of the last 3 years, who's been active, and they'll ease him in, but he'll slide into the starting spot most likely when Strasburg vacates.
And he's been throwing the ball very well on AAA.
Meanwhile, a bit of a trouble spot here with a 3-0 count. taking all the way. Runner at first and 2 down. Adam LaRoche, who is 2 for 2, including a 2-run homer, is the on-deck hitter. The 3-1. Skied. Foul territory, first base side. Matt Carpenter has it, and the inning is over. We've gone through 4. Cardinals lead the Nationals, but Gio Gonzalez was celebrating last night here in the nation's capital. That's what your teammates do to you when you do well. Freeze, the batter here. 2 for 2 with a home run and a double so far. This is the 8th season of Nationals baseball. 2005, after they moved over from Montreal, they won 81 and 81. As Freeze and a liner at first. LaRoche with a nice play. Ice water in his veins.
That expression never changes, does it?
We mentioned 81 and 81 after coming from Montreal, but the Nationals haven't had a winning season since. They were 80 and 81 last year.
One of the all-time great caps right there, right? Montreal Expos. Cubs fans thought I was talking about the Cubs, but that's the history of this team. In fact, the shortstop, Ian Desmond, is called the last Expo, actually drafted by the Expos, 2004, 3rd-round pick.
And part of the success here, Skip Schumacher 0 for 2, looking for his first hit. Twice the Washington Senators, they moved to Minnesota, and then the Senators moving to Texas. Last postseason appearance for Washington baseball, you mentioned it earlier, Tom, 1933. It's been a long time. Bounces one up there. It's now 1-2. Stamina, product of the Nationals farm system, a starter for the most part before this year. In AAA last year had 24 starts.
Yeah, and in a game like this, that history becomes very important. He's a guy who can eat up innings. He's gone 24 times, 2 innings or more.
Swung on, missed. We saw the Expos cap, but it had us reflecting about the Senators who played in D.C. from 1924 to 60 and won the World Series in 24. Relocated to Minnesota in 61, became the Twins. The new Washington Senators played in D.C. from 61 to 71, had only 1 winning season. That was in 69, relocated to Texas to become the Rangers in 72, and then the Expos joining the National League in 69 before relocating to Washington and becoming the Nationals in 2005.
Yeah, they've really forged their own identity. There's no question about it. And you have to give Mike Rizzo and his staff tremendous credit because much of the foundation here has been built through the draft. Now, they did take advantage of drafting near the top of the draft, especially when you're talking about back-to-back years with Stephen Strasburg and Bryce Harper. These are 2 home runs. Doesn't happen often, but you look at the impact players they've been able to draft and develop here.
And Descalso with a fly ball toward left field, and a nice catch by by Bryce Harper. And we're going to the bottom of the 5th as the Cardinals lead the Nationals 8-6. Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet, proud to support youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. Hope you're enjoying Labor Day weekend baseball here on Fox. Adam LaRoche 2 for 2 with an RBI single and a 2-run homer as he leads it off for the Nationals, trailing the Cardinals by a couple of runs. Let's go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Chris, Adam LaRoche, a really interesting guy for the Nationals. Free agent at the end of the season, and the Nationals have spent years looking for a pure center fielder. Well, Michael Bourne is out there on the market, and they likely will have interest in him. They could move Mike Morse to first base if they didn't re-sign LaRoche. They've got a kid named Tyler Moore that they like. But, guys, if they go deep into the postseason and Adam LaRoche is a hero, that could force them to revisit those plans.
Swung on, driven up toward the shortstop who grabs it. Descalso for out number 1.
Kenny makes a great point because the Nationals for years have been searching for a pure center fielder, whether it's Michael Bourne. They've been in talks with teams about trades involving Denard Span, PJ Upton. It seems to be an ongoing issue here, only because Bryce Harper, they believe, really belongs in a corner outfield spot long term than center field. But I think Ken makes an excellent point about Adam LaRoche. If he's a part of a championship team here, or a team that does go deep into October, that enhances his value.
He will turn 33 years old in November. And of course, LaRoche, Arizona, Atlanta, Boston, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, and has had his 100 RBI season as Michael Morse steps up to the plate. Morse 1 for 2 toward right field, and Craig makes the catch. Check our Lexus in-game box score. Harper with a couple of hits so far as we look at what the Nationals have been able to do. LaRoche the big 2-run home run.
Yeah, it's interesting though that really since that home run, Kyle Loesch has really taken command of his game. I talked about a gut check early on with this team down 4-0. A lot of this fell in the hands of the pitcher Kyle Loesch, and he has responded in a big way.
Loesch has pitched at least 5 innings in each of his first starts this year. Toward right, and Craig has it. And an easy inning. We have gone 5 at our nation's capital. The Cardinals leading the Nationals by the score of 8-6. Today's game is presented by MasterCard, proud supporter of Stand Up to Cancer, and sponsored by Michelin, a better way forward. Here in the nation's capital, even the president's race is heating up in September.
Let me
Kyle
guess.
Loesch.
Teddy Roosevelt lost again.
Yes, that's historically, that's one stat.
What a shock.
You just, the players have even noticed. And when that happens, we better check. Fans, one of the entertaining things that take place here at Nationals Park is the big-headed, and down the stretch they come. Abraham Lincoln, and there's Washington. Teddy Roosevelt nowhere to be found. That's number 1 at President's race here, but very entertaining. An entertaining game here as we start the 6th. Loesch 0 for 2, failed in a bunt attempt. Stammen in relief of Jordan Zimmerman. And 1 away.
Back in the first inning, you didn't think that Kyle Loesch would be able to take a third at bat in this game, but he's done a really nice job, and even managing to keep his pitch count down. That's why he took that at bat. He's only thrown 79 pitches through 5 innings. Tom
Verducci, we have Ken Rosenthal down on the field, Chris Myers up in the booth, and glad you're watching Fox Saturday Baseball as John Jay, 2 for 2, hit by a pitcher that scored a couple of runs. Up there and out has helped ignite the Cardinal offense, and it was baffling how you would say they were the leading National League team in hitting and scoring runs, but in the last 4 they had only scored 1 run, and that was unearned coming into this game. But then up against a pretty good pitcher, they have 8 runs.
I mean, it's hard to underestimate or overestimate how bad they looked in 4 games. You have to go back to 1958 to find the last time a Cardinals team played 4 straight games and scored only 1 run.
And it was Mike Matheny who said some of the players last night in the Cardinal clubhouse said they saw Mark McGuire there, the hitting coach. It was absolutely embarrassing what has taken place with this Cardinal team, even though it's a last 4-game stretch.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, Chris, that he did use that word embarrassment. The players were embarrassed about their performance. Certainly the effort was fine, but the performance did not sit well with this team. But as he mentioned, it's not really a vocal group. You know, there was no shouting, no one giving any sort of pep rallies going on before today's game or after last night's game. It's a professional group, and as you mentioned, I think a large part of that is the experience of last season, what they went through. They're in a much better position today than they were this time last year.
2-2 pitch. Got him. Oh. Check out the Jeep game summary. Freeze and Holiday clubbing home runs for the Cardinals, but Matt Carpenter with 2 strikes and 2 out. The big 3-run double.
Yeah, that's the at bat in the game. Obviously, Matt Carpenter, a guy the Cardinals drafted just 3 years ago, a 13th round pick out of TCU, signed him for only a $1,000 signing bonus, but done nothing but impress all the way up the system.
Up here now with 2 down. Ken, what do you have on Matt Carpenter?
Guys, it's a surprise he's even in the lineup today. Injured his right ankle during fielding drills prior to Thursday's game. Yesterday wasn't moving around well. First guy here today, got some treatment, miraculous recovery, and he had the big hit.
13th round draft pick from TCU, but in 2010 you talk about his past, a Cardinals minor league player of the year. 2 hits, has driven in 3 so far. And that's a strike.
Yeah, there's the hit right here. 2 out, 2 strike hit by Matt Carpenter here. Just the definition of clutch ball. Almost gets out of the ballpark. This guy, Mates, he's going to get himself a lot of playing time down the stretch here.
The 2-1 in there. Craig Stammen went 3 innings on Tuesday down in Miami. Nationals spun out of a 5-game losing streak when Davey Johnson had one of those team meetings. Only the 2nd time this year he had to do that for his young team. Cardinals trying to end a 4-game skid. That bounces up there. Matt Holliday would be next. Davey Johnson said all those speeches going on at the convention inspired him. Kind of chuckling about that at age 69, the oldest active manager today.
Yeah, and it was a short one. There's no doubt about that. He hit all the right notes, many of them comic notes. He talked about, hey, listen, the media expects me to have one, and besides, if I have this meeting, I can keep them out of the clubhouse.
That's a bouncer at third where Ryan Zimmerman scoops it and out of the unit. Going to the bottom of the 6th. The Nationals need to rally. They're down by 2.
Welcome back. Other action around the league today. Giants and Cubs. San Francisco started play with a 4.5-game lead in the NL West. Tim Lincecum struck out 7 in the Giants' 5-2 win. Orioles and Yankees separated by just 2 games in the AL East at the start of play. J.J. Hardy couldn't handle Nick Swisher's ground ball in the 7th. Yankees win 4-3. Jays and Rays for the 2nd straight game of the series. The final outcomes on a play at the plate. Rays hold on and win as we get you back out to the ballpark.
Thanks, Matt. And critical pennant race September baseball in Washington as Kyle Loesch works the bottom of the 6th. That's foul and out of play. Danny Espinosa, who is 0 for 2, went to Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana, California. That high school, best known for producing quarterbacks like Matt Leinart and Matt Barkley, who you will see on Fox later today. College football as #1 USC and Matt Barkley, a Heisman Trophy candidate, start their season with Hawaii. Driven toward right. Craig will watch it go. Espinosa with a home run. Five of his 14 home runs came in August, so he's heating up in September.
Well, I think Danny Espinosa could make himself a good football player as well. He's one of the stronger Nationals, and right here he takes advantage of a changeup left up by Kyle Loesch. Just that. Pitch he just didn't finish, left it up in the zone, and Espinosa did what he's supposed to do with it.
So his 15th home run of the year. Davey Johnson was talking about how impressive he was lifting weights and remaining flexible, but how strong, as you said, one of the strongest. You can't tell necessarily by looking at him, but that swing showed you.
No, he's a very strong man. And
Kurt Suzuki with a bunt that is snared by Loesch.
especially for a middle infielder, for a second baseman, really can play either the shortstop position or second base position. You saw him fill in for Ian Desmond. Desmond was on the disabled list, but you'll live with the strikeouts. Leads the league in strikeouts, but a guy who can slug 500 at second base and be a 25 to 30 home run guy, tremendous upside.
That's Ryan Matthews in the bullpen, and Roger Bernardino will pinch hit for Craig Stanton. It's a one-run game here in the bottom of the 6th. Foul to the left side. Bernardino has played well when called upon, hitting over 300 and runs well. Excellent defensive play.
It's a great piece to have on this team. Let's remember, too, we're at a point in the season, September 1st, where Davey Johnson and Mike Matheny, as well as all managers, have more pieces to use in the course of a game with the expanded rosters.
Driven toward right. Craig will haul it in for round number 2. Coming up, we mentioned college football coming to Fox. Aaron Andrews with Eddie George, the Heisman Trophy winner, and the brash quarterback Joey Harrington. They get you ready for the kickoff with the Ford Fox College Saturday pregame show. And then Heisman Trophy winner, or I should say Heisman Trophy frontrunner, Matt Barkley, who we talked about, with USC taking on Hawaii. Premiere of Fox College Football, presented by Geico, is coming up next. Matt Barkley, the decision to stay in college, go for the Heisman, go for the championship, or he would have been a first-rounder playing in the NFL like Luck and Griffin III. 2 down now.
That issue, excuse me, of the rosters is a pet peeve of mine, Chris, because we do play by different rules in the most important games of the year.
Jason Worth, the batter, who is looking for his first hit. Lance Berkman, who the Cardinals have active, available to pinch hit. But now, why do you have such a problem?
Well, I mean, the issue is not everybody brings up the same number of players, so instead of playing 25 against 25, you may be playing 33 against 29, 35 against 30. It doesn't seem to make sense. Now, last year, the Cardinals won 6 games in which they used between 18 and 23 players in one game. 6 times.
So why don't they set a number, lock it in?
It comes up a lot. I talked to Mike Rizzo, the Washington general manager, about the discussions. A lot of general managers would go to, say, a hockey type rule where you have a game roster, an active roster, and you designate each day. Say it's 25 or perhaps even 27. But now we get to a situation where you have extra left-handed pitchers in the bullpen, extra catchers on the bench, extra pinch runners.
Aldo.
It's difficult to manage against those type of situations. If you're managing that from the first 5 months of the season, there are certain matchups that you want to get to late in the game. You'll try to run a team out of pitchers early, out of position players early. Managers are hesitant to hit for their catchers because they have only one backup catcher. That all gets thrown out the window in September.
And it certainly matters if you're a contending team or a team thinking about next year, as you touched on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for bringing guys up so they can experience big league service time. Big league paychecks, not bad side benefit to it as well, but to get a taste of the big leagues and introduce kids to that in the last month of the season, but don't change how the game is played.
A 1-2 pitch to Worth, 2 down, nobody on, toward right field. Craig backing up, and he watches it drop at the track. Worth is going to be on base for the first time, standing at second.
Well, Kyle Loesch had done a nice job keeping his nemesis in check the first 3 times up, but right here, Jason Worth going the other way with the fastball and hitting it well. But this ball actually had a chance to even get over the wall. Decision time for Mike Matheny.
And looks like a pitching change is on the way as Mike Matheny is on the mound in the bottom of the 6th. Trying to equal his career best with his 15th win. Leaves with a lead, but a runner at second. 2 down, and Mark Zepchinski on in relief for the Cardinals.
And you see that line score, and it's not going to look pretty, but it's deceiving. I thought he pitched a big-time game. I want to watch his reaction after this ball lands in the outfield. See him grab his knees right there? That's one exhausted pitcher. They say in basketball, you know when to take a guy out of the game when he starts grabbing his shorts at the foul line. That's the baseball equivalent right there of a pitcher who gave everything that he had. He pitched so hard in the first 2 innings of this game that the bill came due in this inning. And I actually think he did a very good job, and that's a deceiving line score for Kyle Loesch in this game.
Loesch with 92 pitches, and Loesch has not lost in his previous 13 starts. Can Zepchinski, who has a record of 1-3, hold it coming on in relief? Bryce Harper has a double and a single, a fly out in between. He plays at an incredibly high speed. His teenage temper has gotten him into a little bit of hot water. Throwing the helmet, busting the bat, but his manager, his teammates, they get it. They understand it.
You know, it's interesting, you mentioned throwing the helmet, and he was ejected the other night for throwing his helmet just in frustration about grounding into a double play. What he told me was he actually thought that made it 3 outs to end the inning. It was actually only 2 outs. And he was on his way out to right field. Players will do that. They'll leave their helmet at the side. Someone will pick up their glove and hat. He forgot how many outs there were. Otherwise, he would not have thrown the helmet. Certainly, it wasn't directed at the umpire, but nonetheless, got himself his first big league ejection.
They're trying to work with him a little bit, tone it down, but not too much. Got to be who you are.
And here's what we're talking about here. This is earlier. Here's a ground ball double play in Miami. He busted down the line. He throws the helmet. C.B. Buckner throws him out, and he said, "What? I got thrown out? For what? What did I do?"
Davey Johnson said he's 100%er, and then he said, no, he's 110%er. I don't know how if you go more than 100%. The 2-1 pitch with 2 out. Worth is standing at second with a lead. Zubchinski, who worked an inning and a third last night, scoreless, has now a 3-1 count.
This has been an issue for the Cardinals. Zubchinski not as sharp as when they got him late last season for that stretch drive, and certainly the postseason, especially against left-handed hitters.
Ryan Zimmerman would be next. And walked him. Ken, some thoughts on Bryce Harper?
Well, Chris, for all the talk about his temperament, he really has handled himself extremely well for a 19-year-old kid in his first major league season. One thing, though, that's interesting. One of the Nationals players said, you know what? He likes being liked in here, but I don't think he minds being a villain to others. He sort of draws energy from that. We'll have to see that as his career develops.
We're going to have a pitching change here, but Bryce Harper is at first. Worth is at second. This may be a Nationals rally. Brief appearance for Mark Zubchinski. So Fernando Salas is pitching for the 3rd straight day, his 56th outing. He's on the mound now with Ryan Zimmerman, who in his career is 1 for 4 when facing Salas. Runners at first and second, 2 down in a 1-run game, bottom of the 6th at Nationals Park.
Chris, this is September baseball. You got an 8-man bullpen. You can start playing matchup in the 6th inning. And Salas, extremely tough on right-handed hitters. You see that 92-mile-per-hour fastball there. Excellent slider. And he's got a changeup that can be an out pitch for him when it's on.
He last allowed a run on August 2nd. 13 straight appearances without being charged with a run. Held off. Talking about how Bryce Harper plays hard and fast, but that was a wise at bat, a patient at bat for the teenager to take the walk and get on. Forced Mike Matheny to go more into the bullpen. The 0-2 to Ryan Zimmerman.
Well, just to finish that thought about Bryce Harper, I think his baseball IQ might even exceed his physical ability. Davey Johnson told us a great story about how he jumped on a first pitch curveball from Roy Halladay in a run-scoring situation. And he asked the kid, "Were you sitting on it?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I watch a lot of games. I noticed on TV when sometimes he's in trouble, he likes to throw a curveball to get ahead." He doesn't throw many curveballs, but Bryce Harper sniffed it out.
Base hit right field. Jason Worth is coming home. The throw not in time. We are tied. Now they got a runner. Hung up. Harper comes home, and he's in. Bryce Harper gives the Nationals a 9-8 lead.
Well, two great pieces of base running right here. One by Ryan Zimmerman to influence the throw to second base, and one by Bryce Harper to never stop running hard, never assume anything. You see Zimmerman with a nice two-strike approach here on a butt to right field. You know there's a play at the plate. Harper doesn't assume anything, and he continues to run hard as Molina throws to second base with Zimmerman drawing the throw. Here comes Harper.
Here comes Harper. And in fairness, Alan Craig in right field, he has played more games at first base than he has in right field.
Once Harper rounded second, and once he saw the throw then go towards the plate, rounded third base hard. You see Molina is trying to get back to the plate, just can't get there in time.
A flair for the dramatic is what they say about Bryce Harper. Even when Ryan Zimmerman, the first player ever drafted by the Nationals, delivers the big hit, it's Harper in the headlines.
Well, he's one of those players, no matter where he is on the field, in the outfield, in the batter's box, or on the base paths, he commands your attention.
Doesn't get any easier with Adam LaRoche. Pitch gets away. Zimmerman goes over to third.
It's really the way he rounded third base and came just storming into the plate. Look, he's thinking there may be contact here and hits the deck and avoids contact.
He's 6'3", and part of his high school and college playing career, he played catcher.
And had a tremendous arm, obviously still does as an outfielder. But boy, you mentioned 110%. I don't know if that's possible, but if it's possible for anybody, that's Bryce Harper.
So it's a single and RBI, no error charged. Nationals sweating it out, but have a comfortable lead, if you can say that, in the National League East for the 1st of September. There are still 2 out. And Fernando Salas will come back at LaRoche with a 2-2 pitch.
And again, just to finish the thought, a lot of guys in the Nationals dugout were pointing to Ryan Zimmerman, not only for that base hit, but the smarts to see that that ball could not be cut off. The throw from Alan Craig, so he stormed towards second to draw the throw.
Salas to first. Cardinals out of the inning. But the Nationals rally here in the nation's capital to take the lead 9-8. It's the plays you make in September that have you playing in October, and Bryce Harper taking a tough shot at the plate but scoring the lead run as Matt Holliday is up there for the Cardinals. Ryan Matthews, the new pitcher, his 51st appearance, a 4-1 record and an ERA of 2.44.
He will challenge you with fastballs, there's no doubt about that. Excellent slider as well. Mix in the occasional split as an off-speed pitch, but generally real hard stuff and tough on right-handed hitters.
Holliday crushed his 25th home run of the year earlier. That was in the 3rd inning. At one time, the Nationals had a 4-0 lead. Then they were down by 2. Now they have a 1-run lead, and the Nationals are 24-17 in 1-run games. Cardinals have a losing record in that department. LaRoche in foul territory for out number 1. In time for the Just for a Man auto stop foolproof stat. Just as the Nationals count on Bryce Harper for all his hustle, for all he does, you can count on Just for a Man auto stop for foolproof results.
And as usual, he's wearing about half of the infield dirt on his uniform. Typical Bryce Harper game.
Alan Craig, the batter, now with 1 out. Craig has hit into a fielder's choice. Had a fly out, an RBI single.
Clubhouse guys love him, don't they?
Keep the laundry guys in business.
Get out the stain remover.
And base hit right field, so the Cardinals have the tying run on. Here is Yadier Molina. A single and a run scored. Line out in the fielder's choice. The four-time All-Star, the team leader, the MVP candidate on the spot here in the seventh. One on and one out. Matthews, his second year in the majors.
Yeah, you saw that swing there, first pitch. We mentioned how he loves to attack first pitch fastball. Sometimes if you make up your mind, you're sitting on fastball, you get fastball, you're going to swing at it even if it's outside of the zone. But the payoff, if it's in the zone, as we see a lot with Yadier Molina, is something hit very hard.
Fouled off. David Freese, who has a homer and a double, would be next.
As if Yadier Molina needs somewhere else on his body to ache.
It was amazing.
Poor guy's had a tough week.
That collision at home plate you saw earlier in the game against the Pirates.
That's unusual. Right-handed hitter hitting it off the back knee.
And of course, running into Bryce Harper at the plate moments ago. He said, now he's bothered by a neck and back, but previously he's had maybe 2 or 3 concussions in his major league career. And that is floated toward third. Ryan Zimmerman tiptoeing down the line gets the out. Next week the regular season begins. A Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Robert Griffin III of the Redskins take on those crazy go-nuts Saints. Or you'll see Michael Vick and the Eagles against the Browns, Falcons and Chiefs, Rams and Lions. Then in America's Game of the Week, the 49ers take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Coverage begins next week with the Bill Ford Tough Fox NFL Sunday pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. What a time to be a sports fan. A lot of optimism in Washington with Robert Griffin III, the Redskins, and Bryce Harper and this Nationals team. David Freese now with 2 down. I was going to mention the concussions. Mike Matheny mentioned to us, and I was startled by the number. He casually said, hey, he was a catcher over his major league career, and he said he had 15 or 20 concussions, and we didn't call him that back then. They were, you know, he had a headache or something, but they ran him through the process and put him back out there. That is unbelievable.
I thought he was exaggerating, but he said no, he went back over his career. He said actually 1 year in the minor leagues, he got trucked at home plate 6 times. He actually had a funny line. He can joke about it now because he's okay. He really doesn't have any post-concussion syndrome. But he said nobody wanted to be his roommate because when you get a concussion, and certainly back in the day, they'd make sure somebody called over the course of the entire night every 3 hours. So nobody wanted that phone call every 3 hours in the room. So he had a hard time finding a roommate.
It's amazing he was able to work through it. Said he'll use that line sometimes as an excuse at home in a conversation if he doesn't grasp something.
Yeah, honey, the garbage. What happened? I just forgot. Concussion.
The 3-1 pitch toward third. Zimmerman, tough play, got him. Going to the bottom of the 7th. The defending World Series champions are trailing the Nationals by a run. Today's game, presented by MasterCard, is sponsored by Lexus. The Golden Opportunity Sales Event is here. And by the Degree Adrenaline Series. Edward Mujica, the new pitcher, acquired from Miami at the end of July and is not allowed a run in 13 appearances as a member of the Cardinals. Michael Morse leading off the bottom of the 7th. Toward third, David Freese has it. 1 down. Matt camp. David Price, Robbie Cano visited the MLB Fan Cave this season. Check out all the player videos and watch exclusive music videos and interviews with all your favorite performers, celebrities. Visiting MLBFancave.com. Follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. Tom Verducci, have you been to the MLB Fan Cave?
No, but you know, I just saw they have Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Haven't seen those in
I'm there.
I used to play that with Battling Tops, one of my favorite board games. Of course, now it's all video game. It's a different era. As you know, we were talking about Mike Matheny, who played for 13 years, the Cardinal manager, and he said using modern technology, he texts his players sometimes to get a message across instead of a speech in the locker room, trying to end their 4-game losing skid.
Well, that last inning, the 6th inning, sort of emblematic of the problems Mike Matheny had with his bullpen earlier in the year. But this guy, Edward Mujica, has really helped them in the trouble spots. The 6th and 7th innings since he arrived, as you mentioned, throwing shutout ball for the Cardinals. A guy who's really become a split finger specialist, throwing his fastball less and less. He's got a good one, but wipeout splitter, and he addressed exactly the need the Cardinals had at the trade deadline. Now that last inning, the 6th inning, certainly was nothing Mike Matheny wants to see. But Mujica has been lights out for him.
Pitched the scoreless inning on Thursday night. Ian Desmond looking for his first hit, but remember, it was Matt Holliday who was charged with the error. It looked like the ball hit his glove, like he made the catch, and that opened the door for that 4-run inning. Couple of errors, but the Nationals built the lead. And there is out number 2. Don't miss the biggest event of the season, Fox Fantasy Football, presented by Burger King. Easy league setup, Fox Fantasy Insider info, and always free to play. Sign up today at foxsports.com/fantasy. I know a lot of major league players ask me about guys in the NFL and vice versa. But that's what I like about the Fox Fantasy Football. It's easy, that easy setup, so you're not overwhelmed with all the stats and the numbers. You probably get a lot of questions.
Not about NFL fantasy, but I can tell you, you're in a baseball clubhouse, a major league clubhouse on Sundays. They're scoreboard watching the NFL for their fantasy team.
Here's Danny Espinosa, who had a home run, and what a catch in center field by John Jay. And that'll get you out of the inning. So we're going to the 8th in Washington, D.C. The Cardinals hanging on. They're down by a run. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by MasterCard. Sean Burnett, the new pitcher. Shane Robinson is going to pinch hit here. And in there for a strike, in for Skip Schumacher. For Sean Burnett, his 60th appearance. He has a couple of saves. Last pitched on Wednesday. Has 27 holds. Fourth season working in the Nationals bullpen. Tom, want to get your thoughts on the Nationals bullpen and how they have strengthened themselves. We'll take another look at that terrific defensive play by John Jay. Watch Robinson here work in the 8th now, in a hole 1 and 2.
Yeah, Burnett's done a great job, and he's really far from just a left-handed specialist. He does have that crossfire motion that's tough on lefties, but sinking action on his fastball has just made him a nightmare for right-handers as well.
Carlos Beltran given the day off, just a day of rest, wear and tear, and you know by now about Rafael Furcal on the injured list and not expected to play for the remainder of the season. You heard from Chris Carpenter if you were watching us earlier. Ahead of schedule, if there was a schedule, overcoming his surgery.
See Berkman with the bat right there. There's one luxury to know that you've got 2 terrific all-star switch hitters on your bench, and Berkman and Beltran in this game.
Fouled off.
But this being a situation where you're just trying to set the table, leadoff hitter of an inning, Robinson the better pinch hitting option.
Mitchell Boggs and Lance Lynn prepared in the Cardinal bullpen. The 2-2 pitch from Sean to Shane. That's fouled off. Daniel Descalso is on deck. Bottom third of the order for the Cardinals. who at one time trailed by 4, then led by 2. Down a run here in the 8th. There's Beltran. That's the way he likes it pronounced, by the way, although he'll accept Beltran. With Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal, Chris Myers. Glad you're watching Fox Saturday Baseball and the debut of Fox College Football. Aaron Andrews and Eddie George, Joey Harrington getting ready for #1 USC and Matt Barkley against Hawaii. That's coming up on Fox. And he worked the walk. Let's check out our Burger King smooth play of the game.
Well, college football season, right? Well, here you go. This is the fly pattern that John Jay runs right here. They're in a Tampa 2 coverage. He runs down the sideline, 90 series. In fact, when he got back to the dugout, Mark McGuire gave him the touchdown sign. Terrific play by John Jay, a guy in the mold of Jim Edmonds, Kurt Flood, great tradition of center fielders in St. Louis. They believe he's worthy of a Gold Glove. Maybe not quite the reputation to win it just yet, but definitely in the conversation.
He's had a pretty good offensive day, too, for this Cardinal team in that leadoff spot. So a runner at first, the tying run. Beltran, who is on deck, will follow Descalso, who's up there bunting. Foul ball.
Yeah, you don't often see a situation where you're playing for a tie on the road, down 1 here. But so far, this inning has been drawn up by Mike Matheny, and just the way he wanted it, with Robinson, the leadoff type player up there, working out as they make sure they get the sign straight with Jose Oquendo working out a tough at bat to get that walk. And now you have Beltran sitting there on deck in what they hope will be a run scoring situation, rather than wasting him to lead off an inning, put him in a situation where he can drive in a run.
Go over to first if Burnett can get through this inning. Tyler Clippard has been money, and Drew Storen is healthy and coming on strong as well out of the Nationals bullpen. The bunt, snared at the plate. Did he come up clean? Over at first, got him.
Yeah, Wally Bell, the home plate umpire, was all over this call. Jumped out immediately and said no catch here. Nice effort by Burnett to try to snare this in the air, but you see that little short hop there. Make sure they do get the out. A little hairy there, but took care of the out at first base.
So the runner to second now. 7-time All-Star Carlos Beltran has 28 homers, the most since 2007, but he hadn't hit one since August 10th. Right now, the Cardinals would just like him to get a run home. Pinch hitting for Fernando Salas. John Jay, who made the great defensive play, on deck.
That pitch, that swing right there by Beltran gives you an idea of how tough Burnett can be on right-handers. Great sinking action down and away, and you get a half swing on a first pitch from Beltran.
An impressive number about that go-ahead RBI category. I know you torture numbers, they'll tell you anything in baseball, but that's an impressive one for Beltran. Driven, left center. Here comes the tying run.
Well, this is a guy who, since really the end of June, has scuffled 208 since June the 29th for Carlos Beltran. But given a half day off, if you will, comes off the bench here, off the end of the bat, stays on the ball long enough to just drop it into center field. And a very good read by Robinson to take off, knowing that ball was in no man's land.
Cardinals are battling. They feel the heat of September pennant baseball. We're tied at 9 here in the 8th inning.
Well, this is the kind of inning that makes managers proud when you talk about executing the smaller things in the game.
John Jay, 2 for 3.
Just a tough at bat by Robinson to work out the walk to start the inning. Descalso getting the bunt down, barely, but got it down. And then Beltran off the bench in the 9th spot, delivering home the run.
Gets through the right side. Beltran steps at second, so 2 on and 1 out for Matt Carpenter, who at one point looked like the hero. He had the bases clearing double.
And how about John Jay? I mean, we talked about Davey Johnson finding a leadoff hitter and Jason Worth and the job he's done. Same for Mike Matheny and the Cardinals with John Jay. I mean, that's 4th time he's been on base in this ball game, coming off in August in which he was on base 53 times, 4th most in the major league. So whatever offensive problems they've had this week, John Jay at least has been setting the table.
And when you looked at this game from the start, Tom, you saw the Nationals led the league in pitching. And Kyle Loesch, who's going for his 15th win to equal a career high, you didn't figure it'd be 9-9 in the 8th inning.
Is this a great game or what? I mean, you're talking about, as I mentioned, the top 2 starting pitchers in Loesch and Zimmerman are 2 of the best controlled pitchers in the game. Generally are going to keep the game close, move it along. You figure a tight, low-scoring game. Well, we have a tight game.
The low-scoring part, forget about, but the 34,000 plus here at Nationals Park are enjoying the offense. They'll enjoy it more if their first-place Nationals get out of here with a win. They come in having won 3 in a row after ending a 5-game losing skid. Cardinals have finally scored runs, but trying to end a 4-game slide. Here is Matt Carpenter with a couple of hits. He's driven in 3. Drew Storen warming in the Nationals bullpen. Matt Holliday, the on-deck hitter.
And obviously the best case scenario for Davey Johnson here with Burnett, ground ball pitcher left on left, is to get that double play. If not, you got to figure that Storen is the option on Holliday.
Two strikes on Carpenter. Matt Carpenter with a big bases loaded double. Matt Holliday with a 2-run home.
Watch Suzuki here just take this foul ball off the foot. Think of pieces of equipment flying. One of the protectors there protects the foot.
First time this year that the Nationals and Cardinals are playing each other. 4-game series. They end the regular season with 3 in St. Louis. First 2 games of the series have gone to the Nationals. Two and 2. 2 on, 1 out.
Well, he's really having some impressive at-bats in this game. That pitch just off the plate. Burnett trying to take advantage. Maybe some anxiety in a run-scoring situation here with 2 strikes on Carpenter, but he wasn't biting.
The 2-2 pitch swung on over the head of the pitchers at second. Nice play. Got him at first.
Well, you call it. That was a nice play by Espinosa. This is not routine by any means. Sometimes you have to communicate there or else you have a collision there between the middle infielders. But Espinosa makes not only a nice stop on this play, but the way he got his body into position.
Pitching change for Davey Johnson. The Nationals and the Cardinals were tied at 9 in the 8th. Coming up next, college football on Fox. Aaron Andrews, Eddie George, Joey Harrington get you ready for the Ford Fox College Saturday pregame show. And then Matt Barkley, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate at the top of the list. And #1 USC take on Hawaii. Maybe the Trojans march to a national championship. The premiere of college football on Fox, presented by Geico, is coming up next. And for those of you tuning in for the debut of our Fox College football show that we just mentioned with the Heisman Trophy winner Eddie and the brash quarterback Joey Harrington and Aaron Andrews, we're going to take you there right after this game is complete. So at the conclusion of our game, we go college football and get ready to see #1 USC and Matt Barkley. But a lot to do here with 2 out in the 8th. Drew Storen on in relief to face Matt Holliday.
A great matchup here, and obviously he's bringing closer stuff to the mound in the 8th inning here. The former closer, really have co-closers, if you will, with Tyler Clippard. But mid-90s fastball, terrific slider. Hard, and harder against Matt Holliday right here.
Holliday 0 for 3 in his career against Storen. Runners are at second and third. The 0-1 pitch. Swung on, missed.
Well, 2 really good sliders there back to back from Storen. A couple of options here. He can throw another one. This one was perfectly located. He can go even farther out on this one if he wants. Or he can show him fastball above the zone. Elevated fastball.
Beltran at third. John Jay at second. Drew Storen strikes out Matt Holliday. We're tied at 9 going to the bottom of the 8th.
This is the plan that...
Today's game is sponsored by Share Everything. It's the plan that revolves around you. Only from Verizon. And by new Just for Men. Auto stop is foolproof. Gray is over. Tom Verducci, Ken Rosenthal, Chris Myers at Nationals Park. The defending World Series champions clinging to a wild card spot. Tied at 9 with the Nats. And Mitchell Boggs on in relief. Chad Tracy is pinch hitting. 9 for 30 as a pinch hitter this season. Played in Japan last year. Back in 2004 is when he made his major league debut. Gets away. Descalso has moved over to second. Cosma at short for the Cardinals.
Cosma there, the young shortstop. Mitchell Boggs has been a valuable piece from Mike Matheny. One of the better arms on this staff. Upper 90s fastball, good slider.
Tracy. It's up there. It's out there. And it's hauled in there on the warning track. Another play from John Jay. Let's get a game break, a direct TV game break with Matt Vasgersian. Matt?
Chris, Angels and Mariners. Here's why King Felix may not be on his way to another win. Could be his first loss since June 12th, as a matter of fact. Angels down a run in the 8th. Kyle Seager couldn't handle Albert Pujols' shot. That tied it at 2. 2 batters later, Mark Trumbo singles in 2 more. Felix pulled after 7 1/3 as the Mariners are down to their last sets of swings in the last of the 9th. Chris and Tom, back to you guys in D.C.
Thanks, Matt. The Angels making their wild card move. Cardinals hoping to sustain theirs.
How about John Jay running the post pattern on that one? He can cover some ground out there. He's not really what you call a classic burner, but the jumps he gets on the balls and the way he just tracks down balls is just superb.
He's excited for college football coming up on Fox. Bouncer towards short. Got it. 2 terrific defensive plays in this game by the Cardinals center field.
Yeah, I mean, he knows those couple of steps before he caught the ball, you can feel the cinders of the warning track beneath your feet. You know the wall is sneaking up on you, but at that point you can't take your eye off the ball. You can take it off right there to find out where you are, but those last few steps, you got to stay locked in on the ball, knowing the wall is sneaking up on you. Made that look easy. Difficult play.
And so clutch in a 1-run game. An area where the Cardinals have a record of 14-21 this year. Cardinals have a losing record, by the way, in extra innings. Here is Jason Worth.
Now here's one spot where Worth might jump on a first pitch, knowing 2 outs, base is empty here. Oh, took it.
An all-star in 09 with 36 home runs. Missed 3 months with the broken wrist, but has come back. Has homered since. Has the power to change this game in a hurry.
Yeah, I think that's a great point when you have that at a leadoff spot as well. That's why I thought 2 outs, bases empty. Don't keyhole in on something first pitch, because he can drive the ball out of the park. Instead of playing for 2 hits, play for 1 hit with 2 outs and bases empty. Certainly the same is true here at 2-0.
He was the one who questioned the balls and strike calls earlier in the game when Davy Johnson came out. Bryce Harper on deck. That gets away. Now it's 3-1. Worth was the guy in batting practice who told me the other day when I said, does this young team, you're in first place, and he finished the question, he said, do we have the it factor? I said, I'm biased, but I think so. He's one of the senior members on the youngest team in the league. Fouled off. Now full count.
Well, certainly as a member of those great Philadelphia teams, he knows that it factor when he sees it.
Tyler Clippard working in the Nationals bullpen. Driven toward right center, and in on it again is Jay. We're going to the 9th inning, tied at 9. David Freese has been a hero before when it's mattered most. We'll see him at the plate in a moment. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by MasterCard. Tied at 9. Drew Storen still on the mound here as we begin the 9th. Couple of changes. Jesus Flores behind the plate for Suzuki. In center, Yuri Perez, who was just called up. He can fly. Bryce Harper moves over from center to right. And the batter stepping in is Alan Craig.
You see Drew Storen still on the mound there, and you talk about a luxury for a manager. In a normal situation, tie game at home, automatically the closer will go out there after game tied in 9th inning. Obviously you won't have a lead to protect. You get your closer out there. Well, Davy Johnson has 2 closers, Drew Storen and Tyler Clippard. So no need to get Clippard into the game just yet.
Fouled off. Well, the Nationals, with the help of a couple of Cardinal errors, got 4 in the first. Home runs from Holiday and Freese. Nationals bounce back. Espinosa homers. Washington get 3 in the 6th inning. Cardinals tied in the 8th. And here we are in the 9th. The 0-2 from Storen. Outside. Craig has a couple of hits today and driven in a run.
You can see with that slider, Chris, how tough he can be on right-handed hitters. Holiday saw 3 of them in a row, all well executed. And even though that one's out of the zone right there, ahead on the count, you just saw a tremendous break on that pitch.
Driven toward left and base hit. Craig is on. Let's get a DirecTV game break and check in with Matt Vescurge.
Chris, it's over in Atlanta. Cliff Lee earns the win. He's now 2-0 with a 1.91 ERA in his last 4 starts with 31 Ks and 2 walks. The Phillies have won 3 straight. They're now just 7 back of that second wild card spot in the National League. I know I keep beating this to death, Tommy, but here they come. Back to you guys in D.C.
He couldn't wait to do the math there. Maybe he's onto something here.
And there they go, the Braves. Of course, the Nationals have a 7-game lead at the moment, pending the outcome of this game. As Molina steps in. Leadoff man is on against Storen. Drew Storen missed the first 90-plus games of the season after April surgery to remove the bone chips in his elbow.
You saw that fastball up there. It's the second time we've seen Molina just get unhinged on a first pitch fastball. 20% of his at-bats this year, he has put the first pitch into play, not just swung at it. That's a very, very high percentage. So, see fastball first pitch, swing, and swing hard.
The 0-1. In the air and foul, out of play. Drew Storen, 43 saves last year, first-round pick in 2009 out of Stanford. Pac-12, then Pac-10. Of course, you'll see USC college football on Fox. #1 USC and Matt Barkley coming up following this game against Hawaii.
And Drew Storen is a great big league pitcher, but that year, 2009, with the 10th pick, also on the board and available, a guy by the name of Mike Trout. Can you imagine if the Nationals had Strasburg, Harper, and Trout?
It would be very unfair. The 0-2. Held on.
We've seen Storen here now challenge Molina with 3 consecutive high fastballs. Had been going primarily with that slider until he just kind of spun one up there to Alan Craig, who served it into left field. Molina, besides being a great first pitch hitter, well, he's a great hitter in general, but very difficult with 2 strikes. Uses the entire field.
David Freese is on deck. Carlos Beltran with a clutch pinch hit to get the Cardinals into a tie game at 9. Now 1-2. Alan Craig, the runner over at first.
Went back to that slider, Chris, and that one just backed up on him, just didn't finish that pitch. So we're working with Jesus Flores. Good choice here to go back to the fastball. Try to get it inside on Molina.
Driven toward left field. Morris stands there and grabs it. And Craig heads back to first. Comes David Freese. Second inning of this game. He got into this one. $18 home runs, getting that batting average up close to 300. In there for a strike. Craig doesn't steal many bases. Consider pinch run, hit and run here.
Yeah, I don't know about pinch running. He's such an important bat. He's your best hitter with runners on base. If he's in scoring position, it's a different story. But right here, I got to believe that even on the right side there, David Freese is going to hit this ball somewhere in this at bat toward the right side of the field. Let him use that hole. See what that slider Storen's throwing, and even on fastballs, as we've seen with Freese's double, he's just got a natural right field stroke. You back up a breaking ball in the inside part of the plate, as we saw earlier in the game, he'll pull it and pull it a long way. But generally, when he's going well, natural stroke the other way.
The 1-1 pitch.
And that's a great pitch by Storen there, because he knows the tendencies for Freese, and he's able to tie him up with the heater inside. Got this ball in enough on David Freese where he just couldn't get the barrel out in front of it.
Foul off.
Right here you see Ryan Zimmerman here. He'll concede that base hit. David Freese doesn't pull a lot of balls down the line, but you cannot afford to let a ball get between you and the foul line here. That's a potential go-ahead run with the runner on first base, and the way the outfield is swung around towards the right side as well. Anything in left field you can run all day down the line.
The 1-2 pitch from Drew Storen to David Freese. Runner goes. Craig stands at second. No throw.
That's a huge base right there, and give Craig smarts. I'm not sure if he's going on a sign there, as he's seen enough pitches during this at bat. Storen really hadn't paid much attention to him at all. He's got that slow delivery to the plate with that unique leg kick. It reminds me back in middle school with that annoying kid who sat on the aisle. He'd stick his foot out and try to trip you when you walk down the aisle.
We were just raising the issue about pinch running. You know, he has one stolen base prior to that. Of course, Jesus Flores just came in at catcher for Suzuki.
And sorry to bring up my own issues about middle school right there.
That's okay. We all had issues in middle school. We grow out of those. That's the important thing. Important for the Cardinals is a runner in scoring position with one out. Pete Kozma, who we mentioned was just called up, has been moved to shortstop, will get his first at bat. He's on deck.
Let's see if Storen needs to go back inside with the fastball to get David Freese out. You've seen the foul balls going the other way. That's David Freese's strength.
Toward third, base hit left field. Over Ryan Zimmerman. And here comes Alan Craig. And the Cardinals have a 10-9 lead in the ninth. And Freese, for the big stage, delivers.
And give him credit. Not sure if he broke his bat on this, but Drew Storen did exactly that. Tried to go back to the heat inside on David Freese. And he top hands that ball, gets his top hand through that ball, and drives the ball just enough over Zimmerman's head. Boy, a game of inches, maybe centimeters.
If Ryan Zimmerman were built more like an NBA center, he might have been able to make that play. But some clutch hitting, and that's what Mike Matheny talked to us about. We sat with him earlier today. Was we got to get good at bats. Forget excuses with injuries and age and wear and tear. And they've had some big at bats in this game. But if you're a pitcher, hide the calculator. So here's Pete Kozma, 0 for 2 last night at his first game since he was brought up after Rafael Furcal's injury. First round pick in 2007. Runner goes, throw down, and he's in there safely. 2 stolen bases in this inning for the Cardinals.
Yeah, you see with Storen, runners are now 5 for 5 stealing bases against him with that leg kick that he has. Not really a kick, but a swing, more like. Give the Cardinals credit. We saw all those big numbers on the line score, but the little things have put them in front. Going back to the sacrifice bunt after a leadoff walk in the 8th inning. This inning, the heads-up stolen base by Craig, followed by the great piece of hitting by David Freese to drive in the go-ahead run.
Towards short. Got it. Runner has to hold at second. 2 down now for Daniel Descalso. College football coming up. Number 1 USC and Matt Barkley against Hawaii. All the highlights and updates with Eddie George, Joey Harrington, Aaron Andrews operating our Fox College Football Saturday. Join us every Saturday when you can. What a wild game to start September. We talked about intensity and the importance of the defending World Series champion Cardinals. And they have responded. Foul back.
Well, we talked about it. I used the term gut check early in this game. You're talking about a team in the last 4 games that had been outscored 32-1. Came into this game and was hit with a haymaker in the 1st inning, down 4-0, kicking the ball around in the field. And they just, as you mentioned, have responded in a big-time way, especially here against the Nationals bullpen.
Descalso 0 for 1 in his career against Storen. Driven toward left center. This is Yuri Perez and makes the catch. Going to the bottom of the 9th. The Nationals trail by a run, but Bryce Harper is coming up to bat. He's already had a big game for the division-leading Nationals. Jason Mudd on to close it out for the Cardinals. A 10-9 lead, bottom of the 9th here at Nationals Park. 52 games. You see that 31 out of 36. He emerged as the closer last year in the postseason with 5 saves.
Just premium velocity, upper 90s, and just a really, really impressive cut fastball. Has become a great secondary pitch for him. And I say cut fastball, but it still comes in at 92, 93. What a great matchup right here. Bryce Harper against premium velocity guy, Jason Mott.
And 19-year-old Bryce Harper, his 4th straight multi-hit game today. He's already homered once in this series. 15 home runs on the year. He could tie it with 1 swing.
Well, he can tie it with 1 swing, but he can also represent a bunt threat, which is why Freese has to roll up at third base and concede some coverage.
That's how he opened the game. Tom faking a bunt and swinging away, winding up with a double. Scoring the first run, I should say, of this game, but wants to improve on those late inning numbers. College football coming up after this. 10-9 Cardinals. 1-1. There's 31 saves, 4th most in the National League for Mott coming into today. Last night they got him in. It was a lopsided loss for the Cardinals. They just want to give him some work. First time in 4 days. Went around.
Yeah, that's that cutter that just kept running in on him, and Bryce tries to stop it there. Just too much momentum.
Struck him out.
We talked about the high octane stuff. Right here with Jason Mott, starts out, gets the call on the inside fastball, comes back with another one missing. Here's that cutter that just kind of ate him up inside, and then elevate the fastball with 2 strikes. Perfect location for a guy throwing in the upper 90s. No one's catching up to that.
Up steps Ryan Zimmerman. 2 for 4. Then Adam LaRoche, who has homered. Steven Strasburg pitches tomorrow against Jake Westbrook. Game you can see on Cardinals television. In their first series meeting of the year. Ball gets away from Mott. Two outs away from ending a 4-game slide. And if you're a Cardinal fan, the offense seems back on track. Fouled at the plate. Mentioned the 1-run game difference. Cardinals have the upper hand in this one. Zimmerman in his career is 2 for 2 against Mott with a home run. And LaRoche, who's on deck, also 2 for 2 in his career against the Cardinal closer. So the Nationals have 8 guys up there to try to tie this game.
Well, the key with Mott is to stay off that pitch at the belt and above. You know, he'll take advantage of the hitter's aggressiveness, especially with 2 strikes. You know you've got to get started early against his fastball. They can get the ball down to have a chance.
1-2. And struck him out. Oh, just did get a piece of that.
This is 98, but watch the downward movement on this, and just gets the top of the baseball to get himself another pitch.
Fox College football following this. USC and Hawaii with Matt Barkley starring. Bouncer first. Carpenter to the bag, 2 down.
Jason Mott 1 out away from the sort of game you kind of index in your mind after it's over. If you do happen to make the postseason, go back and remember September 1st. A team that looked dead tired, beat up, 4-game losing streak, down 4-0, down 6-2. Just scratching and clawing, finding any way to get back into the game and take a lead.
Cardinals trying to win their 72nd game of the year, and Adam LaRoche towards center, and Jason Mott is going to close it out. The Cards rally from down 4-0 to get a run in the ninth, and St. Louis defeating the Nationals 10-9. More from Washington, D.C. on Fox in a moment. Cardinals win a wild one, 10-9 for Tom Verducci and Ken Rosenthal. I'm Chris Myers. Coming up, Gus Johnson and Charles Davis. Number 1 USC and Hawaii on college football straight ahead.
Fox in